Yeah, so we've just finished an exciting SEMA Open Day. We are now starting with your ACCA Open Day. For those of you who are online, you are welcome. We're going to be treating you to 1.5 hour of exciting information about ACCA and what role we play with respect to helping you achieving your ACCA dream. For those of you who have made the time to come and see us here, it's a dual Open Day. Your counterparts are online. So we're trying to run it concurrently. So there'll be times when we'll have to switch there, listen to them, and as it were. All right. So welcome to Charter Quest. First of all, I've got my image here, especially for those who are online. I know I could stand here. You can see my face is going to be too small and tiny. So I decided to just put my image. So if you cannot see me, you can hear my voice. At least you can see the person who is currently speaking to. But your face-to-face counterparts can see me directly, so they don't need to worry about my image. My name is Valentine. Very soon you'll be Valentine's Day. Do you really believe my name is Valentine? Just think about it. I was not born 14th February, but I was born somewhere around mid-November. And from 14th February to mid-November is 9 months. So I'm sure the ladies can tell them why I'm called Valentine. The guys are wondering, like, what does 9 months go to? Okay, that's my name. I'm a chartered management accountant. I also hold an MSc in strategy. I'm also a professional project manager, and yeah, I also have an MBA degree. I'm the CEO of Charter Quest. So if it goes wrong here, I'm ultimately accountable. All right. So I've been the CEO since 2010 when we were founded. So we want to talk to you about ACCA, why ACCA and how ACCA. In essence, if you were not yet doing ACCA or not, why would you want to do ACCA? And if you have decided you want to do ACCA, how can you go about getting the success? To be able to achieve that, we've prepared sort of a 6-point plan in terms of what we want to talk about. The first item is about you. It might be interesting. What do you mean about you? We would typically do a survey prior to our open day to get a sense who you are, why you coming to our open day, what you hope we can address for you. So we'll give you some indication of our understanding of who you are in terms of you face to face here and those who are actually online right now. We'll talk briefly about ourselves, but then we'll go straight. We can't wait to go straight to the main topic of the day itself, which is the ACCA qualification. So, and then obviously there will be 2 parts. There's the first part, which is 1 to 3, I would address. The second part, which is item 4 to 6, will be addressed by my colleague, Patience Mukonda. She's right here now. She would address, she's the head of operations, so she will address key things like the study options, the various study options that we have to support you in your ACCA journey. She will take some questions. I will also take questions. There will be some questions that relate to my area of presentation. There will be some that relate to our area, especially on the study course, the course options, and the rest. And then we will close with some form of next steps, how we see what we think your next steps could be on this ACCA journey. All right, now let's go first about you. What do we mean about you? Prior to now, for those of you who took the time to respond to our surveys, we sent you a few questions. In a sense, on a few things, we asked 77 of you responded. We asked the question, would you be still attending our open day? And if so, how do you intend to attend? Are you planning to come to campus? We want to do that through live stream. 73% of you said you want to do that live stream. So the vast majority of you are actually attending this open day online. So you're welcome. The other 22% say you come here face to face, and I'm sure some of you here represent that 22%. You're also welcome to Charter Quest. That was the first thing. The second thing that we sought to know is whether you are considering doing ACCA for the first time. 77% of you, 77 of you responded, and we saw a balance. Okay, so like 52% against 48%, so it's like 50-50. Half of you said, yes, I'm still new to ACCA. I've never registered with ACCA, meaning I'm considering ACCA, and I've also never registered with Charter Quest. The other half of you said, no, I'm not. It's not my first time. I'm already registered with ACCA. So it's a 50-50. So we'll be seeking to speak to those who are still considering ACCA for the first time. They've never registered, I'm sure you're at the point you're wondering, should I even do ACCA? And if I should do ACCA, how does it position me in the market? So that's the 50%. Then the other, we'll try and speak to the other 50%, which really is about, yes, I've already decided to do ACCA. I'm sure you're wondering, how can CharterQuest help me to? So our presentation is structured to respond to these two audience in terms of your replies. We did zoom a bit further and say, okay, what sort of things do you think we should, a good open day? Where's that my thing? I took it from you, sorry. That thing, did I? Oh, it's behind the thing. Yeah, thanks. Okay, we also did ask what sort of things you want to see an open day address. Okay, we found here the biggest rating, these two, this and this. Okay, tell us a bit more about ACCA. Okay, this rating also says we want to hear about your class timetables, which is the part more about ACCA. I'll address that, the part of timetable address. The next highest area was this. We're saying we want to know more about your study options, and my colleague is going to deal with that. You follow on from that, you have other areas here. You want to know about exam fees. You want to know about our bookshop. You want to know more about CharterQuest. So that's almost some form of idea. When we asked you what type of study option are you considering if you wanted to do ACCA, 54% said they want to do interactive online. So my colleague will be dwelling more in terms of our interactive one. By the way, this open day is interactive online because some of you are online. Even though our course interactive online is structured slightly differently, you can talk, people will hear you, so it almost feel like you're in class. But my colleague will present more about how the interactive online works. It used to be face-to-face popular, now everybody seems to prefer that, obviously, because we are still dealing with the throes of COVID. 27% said I want to do self-study online, and the rest said I want to come to us in the classes face-to-face. Either way, whether you want to do online or face-to-face, we are here to support you. And the rest. Now, when we ask specific questions, things that you want us to address, here are some of the questions that came up. I will try and address this through our presentation and then recap on them at the end. Here are some of the things. So, questions like, what are my employment prospects in South Africa after graduating from landing a training contract? How familiar are South African employers, especially accounting firms, with this ACCA qualification? Would I be able to compete with applicants holding CASA designation? That's a pertinent issue coming from one of you or some of you. Some want to know what is the scope of ACCA in South Africa, its relationship to the local accounting body. Another question, the BSc and MSc degree recognition with ACCA is almost like an incomplete question. I'm not so sure what this person is asking. You're asking is to BSc and MSc. I'll give you our own understanding of what is it you're trying to ask. If we're not capturing, you can always ask a follow-up questions if you are here, or if you are here face-to-face or you're online. Some are asking, my ICB credits NQF 5, would it be exemption for ACCA? We're trying to address that. What exemption options do I have? We try to address that. I would like to ask how many exemptions I will get if I have a diploma in accountancy from the University of Johannesburg, but will be graduating next year. Those are some of the issues. ACCA should assist African students. Somebody says ACCA should assist African students to see their exams on credit and pay later. You want to know, you want us to talk. We'll give you our honest answers to this question. Let's recognize your question. Absence of oneself on exam day. I'm sure you're asking, if I book for exam and I'm absent on the day, what's going to happen? Again, we'll give you our understanding of what you're asking. Then, if you're not clear, you can ask a follow-up question. If I start with CharterQuest, how do I satisfy the practical experience with requirement? Okay, so we're also going to try and address that. The other questions that came, what is the guide to passing my ACCA first time? You want to know. I've registered before with ACCA, but my 10 years experience elapsed. My 10 years elapsed, and now would like to register and study with CharterQuest. I'm based in Botswana. Is that possible? Number of exams required for foundations in accountancy, and what is the strategy to complete all the required by December 2020? That's pretty ambitious. This person is saying, how many exams does I take to get the FIA, and what strategy can I follow to finish everything by 2020? Is it advisable to attempt all 4 final exams in 1 year? I'm yet to find out what 4 final exams. maybe you talk about the two compulsory and two of the optional, but we're going to spend some time on that. Somebody else is asking Oxford Brooks mentorship program. When should you start looking for a mentor? The wrap. How long before it might be? How long before it needs to be completed, and from which date does it start counting? I'm sure this person is basically interested in how do I get a BSc, having pursued ACCA, and how do I go about getting the right mentor? When must I get the mentor? Who can mentor me so that when I get my ACCA applied skills level, I can also get my first degree from Oxford? I'm sure that is the question you're asking. But you're also going to ask, what about the ethics module? Is there a specific time frame in which one needs to complete this module? Okay, the other questions, what is the date? The date for different terms, that's part two, is your area, Madam CEO. I'm sure this person is referring our semesters. What are the dates for the different semesters? What are the module payment options which we're seeking to address? If I study for 4 ACCA exams, 2 in the first semester and 2 in the second semester, how do I pay for this? Do I pay for all the 4 modules in the first 6 months period for the discount, or can I pay it? It's a payment issue. You have to help them understand this. What is the fee structure and the duration of the program? This area, they're all related to fee. That shows we have to spend some time on our payment structure that these questions can be dealt with. Is it online? Is online study suitable for those working full time? Is it after work and weekends? How is it really conducted? Again, they're speaking to timetable. How classes are offered twice a year, 4 times per subject. Okay, it's speaking again to timetable. So we just thought we must first of all recognize some of the pertinent questions which have come through from you prior to this, and make sure that we address them as an integral part of, obviously, to spend your Saturday there. You want to make sure that your burning questions are addressed as part of this open day to put you in the right position. Okay, so that's basically, we would come back to those questions. We would answer them as we go along, but come back to tick them off and be sure that your key questions have been addressed. Okay, briefly about us. We are Charter Quest. The name Charter Quest simply means the quest to become chartered. Okay, you are here because you want to become chartered in the area of accounting and finance. You can be chartered management accountant, chartered certified accountant, chartered financial analyst, chartered accountant, South Africa, all these various chartered different fields. Okay, so charter quest simply means if that is also what your desire is, that is what we do as a business. We've been doing that since 2011. We work very closely with different professional bodies. In fact, ACC is one of the closest we work with. So we are accredited by 10 different professional bodies. We do 15 different qualifications, of which ACC is one of them. Obviously, the one which is most important to you because you are here for ACC is this one. We are approved. ACC has the approval process where you, if you prove as a college that you have the resources, the capabilities, the pass rates, the quality, they give you that accreditation. Every year you have to continue to prove that, otherwise it will be withdrawn from you. So you really want to choose a college that has that standing. We're proud to have that standing, and yeah, so that's basically who we are as Charter Quest. I don't want to spend so much time on that. Um, but let's get then to ACA. This is now particularly important for those who are those 50% who are still considering doing ACCA. So let me spend some time because if you're considering doing ACCA, the chances are that you're comparing ACCA and CIMA. Maybe ACCA, because once you start doing ACCA, that is the time you could have been spent doing CIMA. You could have spent that doing an MBA. You could have spent that doing maybe some honors degree. So I'm sure what you really want to know is, where does ACCA fit, so you can adequately compare ACCA to every other thing that you're compared, that you are trying to make it on. So for me to really do that, I have to spend some time to really help you understand what ACCA is, what it is not, so that you can then compare with all the other things and put you in a very good. So first of all, obviously there are different professional accountancy bodies around the world. In South Africa, we know SAICA, which is like the thing. If you go to UK, there is the ECAWE, the Irish body, and then there is ACCA. But if you go to US, there is American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, and these professional bodies, they represent the nucleus of professionalism in their various countries. Some of them, they dominate their countries and also go abroad. and like ACCA, it is currently the world's largest professional accountancy body in terms of global reach and offices and student numbers and all the rest. So they are not only active in the UK, they are very active around the world. They face different competitions with different local bodies. If they're in South Africa, they will compete against SAICA. If they're in Nigeria, they will compete against each of But now, what I put here on the board, some of you, if you could, the ACCA qualification, this is the competency framework. So let's put it this way. ACCA has built this to say, here's what our understanding of an ACCA professional looks like. Here are the skills that from our research, global research, not like some professional bodies just research within their country. They do a global research around the world and they map out the key competencies that they believe a chartered finance professional or chartered certified accountant should have. That is what we have. I'm sure you've probably seen this: taxation, audit and assurance, advisory, data and technology, strategy and innovation, leadership and management, stakeholder relationship. Okay, that's very, very broad. We're going to reduce that to the specific modules, career choices, and all the rest. But that's quite broad. Okay, but let's see how that gets translated. Now, ACCA then says if we build a chartered certified accountant with all these components, how do we go about building this guy? Okay, that gives rise to item number 3, which is the qualification itself. So let's see how the qualification fits to this overview. So here's what ACCA is trying to do. It says, okay, well, we're going to build a qualification. Obviously, a professional qualification has 3 components. There's the education component, which some will call it the triple E. Okay, there is the education. There's this thing which has fallen off. This thing is, yeah, I'm going to use my finger. So, okay, there's education, there's ethics, and there's experience. Obviously, experience is one component of you becoming an associate chartered certified accountant. Ethics is another component. Somebody asked a question about it. Oh, you found it. Oh, okay. We are now here on the education component. Okay. Now, the education component is the experience. The education component is what ACCA has grouped into levels. Okay. I'm sure if for those of you who have already been studying ACCA, you will constantly find in each ACCA syllabus they talk about the ACCA intellectual levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 is knowledge and understanding. Level 2 is analysis and application. Level 3 is synthesis and evaluation. So all ACCA is trying to do is to say, to become a chartered certified accountant, you need to display different levels of knowledge. Okay? Ultimately, we are trying to prepare you to display knowledge at the level of level 3. This simply says, do you know the facts? Can you recall the facts? Do you understand why things are done the way it is done? That's the lowest level of knowledge. It is permeates all the ACCA modules. Okay. This says, but you know the facts, you understand. Can you apply it? If we give you a scenario, can you really apply that knowledge to this? That is the second level. This third level is almost saying, okay, you have the knowledge, you can apply it. Okay. But can you bring all the different parts of the knowledge together? Can you really take an issue, bring the knowledge, bring the application, and develop a critical understanding, what to disagree, what not to disagree? How do you bring this? It's almost like problem solving. So ACCA says, okay, we'll build a finance professional that is structured around 3 levels. We're going to have a level which we call applied knowledge. We're going to have a knowledge which is called applied skills. We're going to have a level which is called strategic profession. Largely, what is ACCA doing? Applied knowledge is tied to this level 1. Applied skills is tied to this level 2. Strategic professional is tied to this level 3. Okay, so ACCA then says, okay, what are the basics at the level of level 1 that you need to get right in your journey to become a chartered certified accountant acceptable at the global level. We would introduce these three modules. Okay? Accountant in business, which is currently called business and technology, management accounting, and this. I'm going to show you another picture where this helps you really understand. Once you pass these three levels, these three modules, which attached to which is separate qualification, at this level, which is your applied skills, we introduce more modules: business and law, performance management, taxation, financial reporting, blah blah. Again, I'll come back to this. Now, by the time you pass this level, this is where some people are asking. I'm sure some of you know that when you finish ACCA at this level, you can apply for a BSc degree, which is Oxford Group. Do you know that? Okay, especially those who are considering ACCA for the first time. Okay, ACCA has a partnership with a university in the UK, which is called Oxford Brookes University. They've partnered with that university. The university has, for the last 15 years, developed a BSc honors degree, which is made up entirely of this exactly the same module. Okay, they don't run that degree as a direct enrollment. It's a degree run by the university, but you get it through ACCA. So, which means if you join ACCA, you pass this. Once you finish this 4 modules, okay, you can continue with your ACCA journey. Are you with me? To finally get the ACCA qualification. But when you finish this level, you can apply to Oxford Brookes and say, I have now finished this level. I want to apply for the Oxford Brookes BSc honors degree in accountancy. It just allows you to be getting a university qualification, because some employers only know that language, at the same time getting a professional qualification. But you're not just going to apply to say, okay, take it. Okay, there's some work to be done. Okay, they have what is called, one student was asking, there's what is called a research project. It's a 6 months or a 9 months type of research. They will ask you to identify any area that you found intriguing. Okay, during the time you study, maybe you like taxation so much. There's something you study in tax which you like too much, and you want to research on it further. Okay, maybe it's from what you studied or where you are working. They will ask you to identify any problem, okay, which you can combine these various things to research on the problem, collect data, write down a report over a 9 months and submit to the university. Are we there? They will appoint a supervisor, which is called a mentor. That person's job is to help you define the problem. The university has standards on how you define that problem, how you state it. And then they guide you on how to collect data, analyze, show everything that you have learned in this first area, how you develop to solve that problem, and come up with. Now, most of the things about coming with applying, they're the same thing you've been learning how to apply to pass this. It's just that they ask you to go and now do it on a real problem. Are you with me? If you some do it over 3 months, some do it over 6 months. Once you complete that, you submit it to the university. The university gives you a BSc honors degree in accountancy. So you take that, you put in the pocket, I've got my degree, you continue your ACCA journey. Some can stop there and I've got my degree, and it's a path to getting a degree. Okay. Now, obviously, once you finish this level, you now enter the strategic professional level. Now, AC is saying at this level, it's almost like in the finance department. Okay. There's a bookkeeper, there's an accountant, there's a finance manager or a finance director. So the bookkeeper, so this is basically teaching you how to operate at the lowest level in the business. Okay, this prepares you how to operate at the level of an accountant. Okay. When you enter strategic professional level, they are saying, okay, you should not be able to operate at the board level. Okay. Now, as a professional, you've got other people who are doing the work down there for you. Your job is to interface with the CEO, board of directors. If you are running an audit practice, you are now at the level of a partner. You are not the one going out to do the audits, you are the audit partner. So it situates you at the highest level in any organization you're going to find yourself and say, what do audit partners deal with? What do finance directors deal with? 90% of finance directors, they don't deal with finance. I'm sure you know that. Fine, they are strategists. They sit with the board, they're discussing technology, finance, data migration, all sorts of things, stakeholder relations, but they have an acute understanding of how finance permeates all those processes. So 90% of the time, they sit in board meetings, they are discussing very, very strategic professional issues. So at this level, ACC is taking the view that, okay, you got the knowledge, you got the understanding, you know how accountants, but can you really operate at the highest level in the business? So that is what happens at this strategic professional level. And again, this level is split into two sub-levels. There is the first level, which I'm going to point again to you, which is called the strategic essentials. So this, when you enter, these two are fundamental to the strategic level. Then once you succeed with that, there's what is called strategic options. I'm going to talk again about that, where those options sit in the broader scheme of things. Now, so that is the. Now, some people have asked questions about FIA. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I'm sure you know there are different entry routes if you're considering doing ACC. Obviously, ACC presumes that you have the equivalent of a General Certificate of Education Advanced level. If you've got the General Advanced level, you can go straight here, that ACC. But what if you don't have this? Let's say you got metric, you didn't pass all the way. There's ACC has a junior qualification which is called FIA, Foundations in Accounting. Okay, it's got a number of modules. It's got recording financial transactions, management information. It's the most basic level. It's almost even if you don't have metric, you can because it incorporates what you should have learned at the level of metric. You can go, you do that, you do this. Okay, after you succeed in this, you get what is basically called the Diploma in Financial and Management Accounting. Then you can go to this, you do managing financial records. This directly flows from managing financial transactions. This one, managing costs, directly flows from managing this. You pass this, you got ACA Diploma in Financial Management Level 3. Now, after this, you can go to Level 4. You can see these three modules: Business and Technology, Management Accounting, and Financial Information. If you notice here, they're exactly the same modules here. So if you do not have the minimum requirement to start ACCA here, your entry route is to go and do Foundations in Accounting, FIA, which allows you to end here. Are you with me? When you get this, you get your ACCA Foundation in Accounting. You can then be transferred to the ACCA Qualification, but you will skip these three modules. Because the first 3 here are the last 3 there. Then it allows you to come in and enter straight at this level. There are some people, after this, there are some 3 other optional subjects here. I'm sure you've heard about what is called CAT, Certified Accounting Technician. There are some people who enter here and say, look, I don't necessarily want to go there, but you want to complete it as a standalone professional qualification at the junior level in business. There are 3 optional subjects: Foundations in Auditing, Foundations in Tax, Foundations in Financial Management. You can choose any 2. If you choose any 2 you do, ACA gives you what is called C8. You are now a Certified Accounting Technician. It's a separate qualification, it ends there. If 2 years after you wanted to continue with the ACCA, you can always come back and again you will skip. Are you with me? Come back, you continue from this level. Okay. Now, so if you don't have a metric, that is the path you are taking to go in. Most people, when they come to ACCA, they already have a first degree in accounting. The chances you see it says university entrance level. If you have your or non-relevant, you can enter here, or sometimes you're exempted from here. Some people, you can be exempted from most of these modules. For instance, I see somebody, if you have like an honors degree in accounting, some people are allowed to go in straight at this level. So which level you enter depends on the qualifications you have before you go into ACC. So let's get that very, very clear. And it varies from university to university. Generally, it's what ACC calls accredited degree. Okay, now that is some form of a roadmap. Let me read from a career point of view, especially if you say ACC is an intense journey. Let's get it clear. If you start it, you have to commit your life for the next 2 years, depending on where you start, to say this is serious business. If you hear people are struggling with CTA, CAS exam, it's the same thing with ACC. Maybe there's some flexibility that you can take 2 subjects at a time, so you might, but I can tell you. So what that means is before you invest time to go into ACC, it is now applicable to those who are thinking about ACC and those who are already. Here's what these 3 things, this competency framework, and these various models. Here's how you look at it from a career point of view. ACCA starts by saying we want to build an accountant with those attributes. There are two types of accountants. There's what is called accountants in business, and there's what is called accountants in public practice. I'm sure you know that, right? In business, it's just a large term for saying you are not an auditor. Any other accountant who is not working in an audit firm is considered to be accountants in business. So finance managers, accountants, finance directors, management accountants, they all drop in that category. So they work for NGOs, for companies. And all other accountants who work in public practice. Public practice doesn't mean public sector as in government, but public practice as in working for audit firms whose role is to express an opinion on the financial statements of companies. They belong here. So if you make that ACCA journey, you have to start by saying, okay, which type of accountant do I want to become? Are we there? Now, here's what ACCA has tried to do. Say, okay, to prepare these two sets of accountants, which I'll call my career field, what do I want to become? ACCA has built, if you remember those three levels, we said there's applied knowledge, remember? We said there's applied skills, remember? We said there's strategic professional, remember, from the other slide. Okay. But we said below here, if you couldn't enter here, there's what is called foundations in accounting, recall? Okay. So ACCA says our qualification starts from here upwards, but should you not have the minimum requirement, you can enter here and continue upwards. Okay. So let's see how ACCA has positioned the various modules to prepare you for either that direction or this direction or both. Because there are people who start in public practice, they end up in business. There who start in business, they end up in public practice. It's not mutually exclusive. It's just that there are certain things that are emphasized on one group but not the other. Okay. Now, ACCA then says, okay, if you are preparing to go into business, what do businesses do? They are there to make profits, right? Okay, so we need to build you around the income statement. In other words, business is there to make, and you know whether a business is making profits through the income statement. So let's put the income statement there at the bottom. Okay? If you are preparing to go to public practice, okay, it's more about who looks at financials is investors. Right? Investors want to look at it, but ultimately it's about how to value you. What is your value as a business? Can we invest in you? Blah, blah, blah. How do you know whether the company has the standing to be invested? You have to look at income statement when it's mostly the balance sheet. Because where you know where it's assets and how they're valued. So let's say, much as the two are interrelated, but let's say, really, we set it around the balance sheet. So here's what ACCA has tried to do. Say, okay, if you could not start with ACCA, but you have to start its foundation in accounting. If you recall, I just pointed out, we said, yeah, recall, we say, here are some modules that you can start with. You see, it says FA1, FA2. Can you see that? MA1, MA2. F stands for financial, M stands for management. So ACCA is saying, at the end of the day, we're going to start with either financial accounting or management accounting. That's where all accounting starts. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to say, if we are learning how to understand the income statement, we'll do with MA1. Are you with me? Income statement is a management issue. Okay? If you are learning how to report what's happening in the balance sheet, financial issue. Your assets, your liabilities. So let's put FA1 there. Okay. But it says once you learn this, you have to learn MA2. Are you with me? Once you learn this, you also have to learn FA2. Those are those same modules. They interlink with each other. But this is starting to point a lot here. This is starting to point a lot there. So this is beginning to teach you how to think as a businessman, not as an accountant. Because the emphasis is to prepare you to go into business. Are you with me? This is beginning to teach you how to think as an accountant. Are you with me? The emphasis is to prepare you to audit what other accountants are doing. Okay. Fine, there's overlaps, but you need to understand the thinking. behind the qualification before you decide whether you want to do it or not. Okay. Now, ACCA then says, okay, if you remember those modules we talked about, which is 4. Sorry, let me not keep going back. Let me just point out, I'm now at this applied knowledge level. We said there are these 4 modules. Sorry, there's these 3 plus this 1. Okay, here's what ACCA is trying to do. Say, okay, there are these 3 initial one and this one. Here's how ACCA plots this in their architecture to build you what you're trying to achieve. Here are the 4 modules. It takes business and technology. If you see, business and technology is not sitting that side because it's got nothing to do with accounting. Okay, then it takes management accounting. MA1 and MA2 has prepared you now to start management accounting. Okay, it takes the third one, financial accounting. Can you see I'm now shifting towards this side? Financial accounting. Then it takes corporate law. We said there are 3 plus 1. It takes corporate law, is situated slightly there. Okay. Now some would say maybe this belongs here in the middle. But the question here is, ACCA takes a view that when you are in company public practice, okay, it is every country has what is called the Company Act. And the Company Act requires that companies be audited. So ACCA takes company law from a point of view of a statutory issue. Are you with me? So you understand company law, company requires, so that when you start thinking as an auditor, you understand how to bring that. That's the reason why law and it's been set here more towards public practice. That doesn't mean you're not going to apply it there. Okay. Now, once you clear that, ACCA then says, okay, there's what is called performance. We have not entered the applied skills level. We're going to introduce what is called performance management. You see that directly feeds from business and technology. What are you trying to manage? You're trying to manage revenue, cost, and how to make a business to be profitable. If you don't control performance, you're not going to get the business outcomes you're looking for. So let's introduce performance management as a model. But that model is being introduced assuming that you'll be going into business. Are we there? Okay. We're going to introduce also what is called tax. If you look at tax, we are now beginning to put it there in the middle. Okay? Because running a business, you need to manage tax. Auditing a business, you need to be able to help the business to express an opinion on its tax account. So taxation is there in the middle. Okay. Then you have financial reporting. This is financial accounting. This is now financial reporting. It directly feeds from this. Okay. Now you have audit and assurance. Now, obviously, you understand corporate law, you understand all this company, you can audit across. You can audit across. Because you are taking a step back and allowing other accountants to do it, and then you are coming. Okay. Now, ACCA then says, okay, we're going to now introduce one here, which is called financial management. Okay. What are we doing here? By the time you get to this level, now, I need to point out that the manner in which we've laid out these blocks should give you an idea, even if you're doing ACCA, which subjects to pick and how to pick. Meaning, you have to do all, apart from the option, but you need to know, if I do these 2, they are talking the same language. If I do these 2, sometimes they overlap as such that it looks like 2 subjects, but you're doing one and the other. Because if you pick these 2, there's a lot you can easily see as you're studying concurrently. That if you pick one here, go pick one here. Some people just pick anyhow. And then they increase their workload unnecessarily. Okay. Ideally, we structure our courses, we tell our candidates, ideally, if you could, this financial management is the last module to do. They all look like they're at the same level. But it is hard to really understand financial management unless you've understood all this. So yes, at some point, you may want to take this and one of the last. By this time, you've already finished 3. Maybe we're doing 2 per cycle. Are you with me? But make sure FM is the last in that level. You might take it with 1 more because you can't be doing just 1 more. So keep that in mind. Okay, now, so like we said, that is the level after which you can then apply for that Oxford Brookes degree. Remember? You apply for this, you get your 6-month project, you get your degree. You come back and say, okay. Now, some people have asked what is called the ethics and profession. ACCA did not have this introduced. Now, ACCA has introduced a module which you often not find in the qualification structure because it doesn't look like an exam. They call that ethics and professional skills. Here's what they've tried to do. They said, okay, ideally, a candidate who has finished this now is now entering the professional level. Okay? There are certain ways that you need to be thinking now when you enter this level. We're going to introduce a module which we'll call ethics and professional skills. Now, if you look at this ethics, you would have signed a code of ethics as an ACCA student that I'm going to abide by professionalism, integrity, professional competence, and due care, confidentiality. Those things that make your ethical standing as a professional. You would have signed for it. But we don't know whether, having signed for it, whether you really know how that works. Whether if ethical dilemmas come, whether you can really navigate your way around those ethical dilemmas. Fine, we'll put some of them in the modules, but we really want to know whether, because leaders in organizations, they are always faced with serious ethical dilemmas. So what we're going to do is, and then we also have what is called professional skills, commercial acumen, business acumen, communication skills. When you get, ACCA takes a view that you succeed more by your understanding of business, your understanding of how to influence people, how to talk to people, how to evaluate options than doing accounting. So they've created a module which they call ethics and professional. It's a long scenario. Okay, you can go to the ACCA website, you download, you say, I want to do this thing. It will ask you, it will give you, throw you into scenarios. Okay, we have this thing, how would you deal with this? We have this thing, how would you deal with it? So some of them are clear ethical issues. Some of them are clear professional issues. You complete that, you can take 1 year to do it. You do a bit, you close your file, you come back, you update. You can do it at your own time when you're ready. Ideally, however, ACCA says we strongly recommend, and in fact, us as Charter Quest also strongly recommend that you go and do this module before even you start any module at the strategic professional level. It's not a requirement, it is our strong recommendation. And I'm going to explain why we believe that is the case. Now, we said there are two essential modules. The strategic is split into two levels. There's essential. There's what is called SBL, Strategic Business Leader. Okay. There's what is called SBR, Strategic Business Reporting. Okay. What ACCA is trying to do is to say, okay, we are preparing you now to go into business. Okay. And at the level of finance directors or whatever, it's about leadership. Are we there? So can you lead in business? Can you lead an accounting? Can you interface with boards and all the rest? How do boards craft strategy? How do they operationalize strategy? How do they mobilize all the different parts of the business to work on strategy? So the presumption here is that everything you would have been learning here, are you with me, has prepared you now to plot the long-term direction of a business. So they will just bring that all together, okay, which is a 4-hour case study exam. It's a very intense course. It's a case study exam. It combines risk management, strategic management, change management, technology management, a whole lot of areas, because to run a business, all those things are happening. It combines all those. We teach you how to translate everything that you've been learning from each of these areas and those topical areas to answer case study related questions that confront boards of directors. Okay, now that's keeping an eye here. Then come this side. ACCA then takes a view that, okay, you know what is financial reporting. But what's the difference between financial reporting and strategic business reporting? Financial reporting is more about your GAAP, your IFRS, impairments, valuation, what the different accounting standards for goodwill, fair value, all those things, how you employ different international financial instruments to account and measure things in a way that conforms to the requirement. But once you move here, ACCA says, okay, we know you know what is GAAP and IFRS. Okay? What we don't know is whether you understand the strategic business implications. Because even inside IFRS, they will tell you accounting for revaluation. You can use the cost method, you can use. Are you with me? But those methods have some serious strategic implications for the business. So what ACCA tries to do is to say, okay, let's elevate accounting standards to the implications for the business. Are you with me? The choices you make, how does that translate to how investors see you? How government sees you? Are you with me? So that now develop what is called. So at the time you're looking at strategic leadership, which is about how to influence stakeholders to move the business forward. This is teaching you how the accounting choices you are making, how they are being perceived by these external stakeholders. So when you combine the two, you can move the business to where it is going. Okay. Now again, that is still taking you towards that. Now at the end, ACCA says, okay, once you finish with those two modules, we now introduce what is called 4 other modules, okay, which is still part of the strategy. Oops, sorry, I switched off this. Okay, now some people just usually by the time people get to this, they are so tired they just want to pass, and they make some very serious account or career blunders. ACCA says once you have passed these 2 essentials, yes, you can take one of these and one of these. You can take in any order at that level. But we strongly recommend please clear these 2 essentials first. Both of them form the foundation for the next ones you're going to choose. ACA says you can choose any of 2 of these. This is advanced performance management. This is advanced financial management. This is advanced taxation. This is advanced audit and assurance. Now, if I draw a line here, okay, if you see this is performance management, which some call management accounting. Now that is directly advanced performance management. But it's going to link through this before it goes to that. These are all strategic papers. They assume that you already know strategy and you're working at a strategic level, but you now have to implement the strategy. Okay. Now, so this directly fits to this, but it first knocks on through that before it goes. Obviously, this also fits from here. Okay. Advanced financial management fits directly from this financial management paper. It knocks through here and then it goes there. Okay. Advanced taxation fits directly from this tax paper. Okay. It knocks through here and then it goes there. Okay. Advanced audit and assurance fits directly from audit and assurance here. Are we there? Now, as you can see, because ACCA says you can take any 2, here's what some people do. By the time they get here, they choose this one, or they choose that. Here's the point. By the time you get there, if you go through this thing, it must also go through you. You should get to a point where you know where your true strengths are, where your passion, where you really. You can be one of the 2, but you can't be both at the same time, isn't it? You can start in public practice, you earn in business. You can start, but you have to start somewhere. There must be something that says, I think I will excel in this area. If you believe you want to go into business, even though ACCA says you can choose any 2, it is point you have to choose these 2. Here's the reason. If you go choose one here, some people say, no, we hear this is easy, this is let's choose one. It's almost like, because remember that anytime you apply for a job, okay, you're being compared with CASA, you're being compared with SEMA guys. Are you with me? If you come and you have ACCA and you apply for a finance director position, and I've got one ACCA guy and one SEMA guy, for instance, you apply for a finance director position, I will take you as an ACCA guy if you did this too. Once I see you did this too, I already know you're even much stronger than the SEMA guy. But if you did this one and this one, I'll just drop you and take it. So you have to be knowing that yes, you want to take the easiest ones to finish. But you have to be knowing that it's a game of career positioning, putting yourself at some strategic advantage at any given point in time. So we generally tell our candidates that, look, we run all the 4. Anyway, we run all the 4. But we tell our candidates, if this is where you want to end, do this too. If this is where you want to end, do this too. Are you with me? Nothing stops you from doing this too and coming back to do that too. Because you can do it, you can do this too, you get your ACC. We have candidates who have done this too. They got their ACC. They came back to say, I want to have all. So they register with ACC, attend class, they do this too. It's like ACCA plus. There's no extra qualification for that. So if you have like a bullet, if an employer says, which one did you use? I have it all. That is just to give you an edge. Okay. Yes, some people choose 1 year, and then they end up being neither here nor there. Okay. Here's another good news. This route has always been popular. This route has not been very popular in South Africa. Who knows why? Okay, those who chose this route, they are planning to go into public practice. Okay, up till, let me say, even up till now, before I let the cat out. Okay, up till now, I'm sure you know by law in South Africa, this law, okay, only CASAs are allowed to practice. When I say practice, to sign off financial statement. You can work in audit firms as an AC, but you can't sign off. So by law, only CASAs. And it's not just automatic CASA. If you have CASA, you have to still go do that, what is called 18 months EBA requirement, specific 18 months training. To say I'm CASA and I'm undergone the extra 18 months experience to be a registered auditor. So by law, registered auditors in South Africa were only CASAs who did that extra 18. So which means if you took this route, unless you are planning to go into public practice abroad, because in various, in Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Australia, a lot of countries, ACCA has reciprocal agreements, where if you did this, they can easily translate you to practice in those countries. But in South Africa, it has always been a challenge. So many people, when they came here, they went that route. Are you with me? Now, I can happily say the following, and I need to watch my words carefully. For the last 50 years, EBA was set up. EBA is the body that licenses auditors to practice. For you to be a registered auditor, you need to be licensed by EBA. But for you to be licensed by EBA, you need to be a CASA. Are you with me? Now, so the cycle has dominated the industry for the last basically 100 years. Now, 2 years ago, EBA decided it is time to deregulate the sector, something that we have never imagined would happen. And professional bodies were given the opportunity to say, you can demonstrate that you can meet the requirement to be licensed as auditors in South Africa. Okay. One of the first bodies that has taken on that challenge is ACCA. Are we there? Right now, I am a member of an EBA accreditation committee which has been set up to evaluate ACCA. Are you with me? Against the EBA. So the same EBA standards that EBA sets for being an auditor, which SICA had to comply with, ACCA is also now being measured against those standards. It's a very lengthy process. We started last year. We're hoping to finish by the end of this year. Okay. I will not go into the details of how it is faring, but should that process end, okay, and ACCA manages to demonstrate to EBA. By the way, we talked about something which ACCA has demonstrated in more than 300 countries. So this is like, ACCA has been able to prove that in many countries. So our job is not only, it's about 40 members of the panel. There are auditors there, there are academics there, there are different professors. They are looking at independent. It will be debated. You go through the accreditation committee, go through the EBA board. The idea is that by November this year, should ACCA meet the requirements, an announcement will be made. Two things can happen. They can conclude that ACCA did not meet the requirement, and therefore ACCA. Are you with me? Obviously, they will tell ACCA where it has come short, and ACCA will give them maybe another 1 year to work on it. Okay. Or they can announce that it meets the requirement. Are you with me? If they did that, that would mean that ACCA members, they can also now become registered auditors. Okay. That would be a major game changer for anybody who is following the industry. It will be a big game changer. By the way, every other country in Africa where ACCA entered, it took 3-4 years for the local professional bodies to easily give up, lose the edge to ACCA. You can see that in Nigeria, you can see that in Kenya, you can see that in Zimbabwe. It would just take 3-4 years to finally find the balance tilting. So the point one is making is that there is some serious future on this path, unlike it has ever been. Okay. Obviously, there are still risks to the process. Okay, there is politics involved and all the rest. But so that is almost It is my hope that if you came here wondering whether you want to do ACC, this should have given you some idea whether ACC is really what you want to do or not, and how you position yourself. If you have already registered for ACC, please look at this template. We're happy to share this slide. You know how to pick your subjects, which subjects to pick when and where, how to combine that. We run all of them, but we just tell you these two do not work. Try these two first, then come back to these other two. These are some of the things we do from our years of experience. Now let's just go back. So that's that from my age. Let's just go back and look at this which some of you asked, and see to what extent this question. The first question was, what are my employment prospects in South Africa after graduating in terms of landing? And let me see if you are listening carefully. Somebody asked, what are my employment prospects in SA after graduating in terms of landing a training contract? Did I answer that question? Let me see if you were listening carefully. Have I answered that question? Who thinks I answered that question? Okay, this person is saying, he's not saying what are my employment prospects in terms of a training contract. I'm sure you know that in terms of EBA requirements, a training contract is like your article. Okay, CAS says that you sign a training contract, you do article. So this person is saying, can I easily get a training contract that for which the experience will be like articles that can easily help you become? What are the prospects? The prospects until what I'm just explaining it's not been that good, but it's now about to open up. Because with what I just explained now, if EBA signs off, it therefore means that all the firms that are offering all over to ASA, they'll be battling to also get from, so it will be very explosive. So the prospects are very good. Okay. Now the person also, how familiar are SA employers, especially accounting firms, with this qualification? And would I be able to compete with applicants holding the CSA qualification? How familiar are South African employers? The answer is simple, they are not as familiar. Let's be clear about it. Okay, employers know CASA, of course, it's a local thing. The next bigger one which they know is CIMA. They know CIMA more than they know ACCA. So in terms of familiarity, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very familiar, okay, 1 being not so familiar, SICA is sitting here, CIMA is sitting somewhere, ACCA is somewhere there. Let's be clear. Let's not tell you that, oh, they are very familiar. Has it been growing? Yes. Okay. ACC happens to be in a sector which competes very closely with SICA. And because SICA is protected by law, the law says only CASA. And as a result, ACC has not been able, they've only been, the SICA has been there for 100 years. So in terms of familiarity, if familiarity is your major concern, then know that you shouldn't be doing ACC. Let me tell you as it is. If familiarity is your single, you've heard a lot of other benefits of doing it. If you say familiarity is the be and all, then maybe do CASA, because that's about as familiar as it gets by employers. Or then maybe consider doing CIMA. But if you consider, but now once you step your feet outside of South Africa, it's a different story. Yeah? The same thing I've explained about familiarity with respect to South Africa. Once you talk about international assignment, it's the opposite. SICA is the last. In fact, the ACC familiarity is even better than SICA's familiarity when you go abroad. SICA is the last. CIMA is familiar, but not as so. Once you step your feet outside of South Africa, ACC is the most familiar. Obviously, they are the biggest, they have got the biggest global reach. They are still working to get their familiarity in this country. So let's get that very, very clear. Okay, especially accounting firms with this qualification. So this person is asking, how about accounting firm? Accounting firm referring now to public practice. Because we talk about accounting firm, public practice. The good news is that these accounting firms, here's what a lot of the accounting firms are doing. Okay, the accounting firms are here. If you go to PwC, you probably find that there are 15 partners. Okay? Maybe in the Audit and Assurance division, there are 15 partners who are registered auditors, okay, who can sign off financial statements. Under those 15 partners, there are like 300 auditors. You probably find that 150, half of those are ACCA students, half of them are ACCA. So in terms of familiarity, they are not, because you can't sign off. but they are actively hiring ACCA because they know most of the clients are international businesses. If a multinational is here, you are PW auditing, Mobile, Microsoft, all those offices. They know around the world they are audited by ACCA. So what the local that they go and recruit the ACCA and put in their team, but they are not allowed to sign up. Then they do all the work and then they sign up, and then they pay them hands only to keep. So when they have to show to these international clients to say, no, look, the same people auditing, they go and say, this is my team, ACC and all the rest. So not at the level of signing, but in terms of recognition inside the accounting practice, it is very strong. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. The scope of ACCA in South Africa in relation to law, I'm sure I've already answered that. It is apparent from my answer. The BSc and MSc degree recognition. I suspect this person, I've talked about Oxford Brookes degree. Okay, I've explained that. I suspect this is what this person was asked. He's probably heard that I can get a BSc degree and he's wondering how does it work. I've explained how this works. Now, obviously, because you have that degree, you can later on, after getting your AC, you can move straight to an MSc degree. ACCA has a certain another relation to the University of London, where if you have this BSc, you can apply that directly. For another 1 year, you can get a master's degree. So if you were asking about how ACCA helps you to get all these other degrees, that is the process. Okay? We've already done. Can my ICB credit NQF? This person who asked this question, you said ICB NQF level 5. You didn't say ICB has a number. If you're online, ICB has a number of qualifications. There is diploma in accounting, there's advanced diploma. There are a lot of NQF level 5. You did not state which NQF level 5 ICB qualification you're referring to. So as a result, I can't tell whether it will grant you exemption. So if you're the one who asked this question, I'm going to show my email address. Just tell us what is the name of the qualification. I will be able to tell. Alternatively, the process is easy. If you just go to Google, you click ACCA exemption search. Put the ACCA exemption search. It's going to show you this thing. It's one of the first. You click it. It's going to ask you qualification / whatever. It's going to say country. You put ICB there. You put the country, South Africa. You click search. It's going to outline all the ICB qualifications, which gets you exemption for ACCA. Then you look at the name of your qualification. You see if it's on the list. If it's on the list, you click it, you open, it will tell you this one gives you exemption for this. That's the only way I can answer you. Otherwise, I don't have enough information to answer that question. You can either send it. Exemption option is the same thing. Put exemption search, enter your qualification, enter the country you got it, you click search, it's going to tell you. So that's basically it. I would like to ask how many exemptions I will get if I same thing here. Go there, enter, click exemption search, enter diploma in accountancy, you enter you click there, it's going to tell you. Okay? So we'll show you how to get these things done. ACCA should assist ACCA should assist African students to seek exams on credit and pay later on. Who wants to answer? Maybe this African students, does it mean African students are poor? Why not just say students? Why Africa? I guess this person is saying, I really want to do ACCA, but I don't have the means. And don't you think us as Africans, a lot of us are always seen others who are also struggling, but are capable of doing ACCA? Why don't you allow us sit on credit and when we pay you later? I wish I could. At the end of the day, ACCA not for profit organization. I don't think they will ever do this. Okay, they pay lecturers to have this. Okay, they need the funding. I mean, 90% of a professional body's funding comes from exam administration. They use it to pay salaries. There's a lot going on there. So I don't. Yes, they have these things where they have scholarships for poor and needy, so you can apply through that route. But I don't think ACCA will ever allow anybody. So sorry if I couldn't tell you the good news you want to hear. I've worked with these guys for 50 years very closely. I know they're thinking. There's no way they'll even. Some suggestions they'll take and say, let's think about it. This one, they won't even say let's think about it. They'll just dismiss it. So sorry, it's not going. ACCA will not. I don't think they would. I'm not speaking for them, but I know. Okay. Absence of one's. I guess this person is asking. If you register for exam, you're not there, you fail. Well, they'll put the absent. So unless I didn't understand, you say if after once on exam day, it's normal. If you register for exam, you're not there, they'll put the absent. sometimes maybe the choice is, if you pitch, you fail, they'll put the fail. But if you didn't come, they'll just put absent. Maybe absent is better than fail. But you will lose the money. If your issue is the money, you don't pitch, you're going to lose the money. If I start with charter quest, how do I satisfy the practical experience requirement? So, like we said, ACCA has 3 legs. There's the education, which is where we are. There is ethics, which is that ethics and professional skills module. Okay, and then there is experience. Okay, ACCA, what is called, I'm just reading about approved employer list. Read about it. ACCA has partnership with a lot of companies. I mean, FNB, MTN, there are a lot of companies which ACCA, they have a program which is called approved employer program. They visit companies, they say, you are a company, we see that your processes are processes which can teach an ACCA learner. The company has to meet some certain requirements. The last I was checking, about 60% of listed companies in South Africa are members of that team. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to find every company you find. For instance, MTN is one of our clients. They have what is called the CASA program. They have the MTN program. They have the ACCA program. There's somebody appointed here. These guys, their job is to find young guys who are trying to become CASAs, who are looking for work experience. They hire them. Obviously, they pay you. It's like articles. So you do an article, you earn very low. They hire them. They pay them 4,000 or 5,000. Some because they take responsibility for training you, for paying your exams, paying for your studies for 3 years. Then they rotate you in the company. So in the process, though your salary is low, you're getting trained. At the end of 3 years, you pass all your essay, you sign off, they immediately triple your salary or whatever. So your first duty is to find an approved employer. Why I first started with approved employer is that those particular ones, they actively look for ACCA people to put into their companies. Then they have active programs to retain you to give their experience. That's your first bet. It does not mean that if a company is not an approved employer, your experience will not. And you can take any company which is not an approved employer. It's just that they don't have a specific training program for you. If you join that anywhere you work, as long as you meet those 12 performance objectives, to ensure that you've done auditing, financial reporting, or taxation, those various areas, anywhere you work, you can compile that, you submit it, meeting those requirements, you can see the stand up. So that I hope that answers this particular part. There's another question: guide to passing on first attempt. The guide to passing on first attempt is to enroll with charter quest. How is that? I guess this is what I mean. If we could use an open day to give you this blueprint to pass first time, we won't have a business, isn't it? Yeah. Let's face it. Our business is to get you to pass first time, for which you need to pay a fees. We use our expertise. We've been doing this thing for years. We know in this subject, if you don't do this, you're not going to pass. So we use all the expertise, all 15 years. We develop a course schedule, a timetable, a lecturing plan. You're going to see where it comes from. Yeah, we know what the chief examiners are saying on every single subject. We've been tracking every single subject. Yeah, if we touch here, students pass. If we touch here, students fail. So I would say the guide is enroll with charter quest. Pay your fees. Get into class. On day 1, the lecturer will start telling you, on this area, here's how you pass. On this area, here's what you do. So I don't think there is a silver bullet answer I can give you there. I hope that it is what it is. Okay, I have registered before with ACCA, but my 10 years elapsed. Yes, I guess because the ACCA says you have 10 years to complete it. Okay, and now would like to register and study with Charter Quest. I'm based in Botswana. Okay, ACCA requirement is that from the date you register with ACCA, you have 10 years to finish. Okay, now you can register, okay, but not write exams. I'm sure you know there's a difference. You can go register and say, I want to be an ACCA student. They start counting the 10 years from when you write the first exam. Are you with me? So this person says, I've registered 10 years ago as elapsed. I don't know whether you've written your first exam or you haven't written. Okay? If you have written your first exam and 10 years have passed, ACCA, please, I'm going to show you an email at the end. ACCA has an exam. You will have to motivate because it's 10 years from the day you write your first exam. Please, I'm going to show my email at the end. send it to me, give me the date when you first registered, the day you wrote the first exam. There's a process where we can make a submission to it. But we're going to ask you, why did you not study for the last 10 years? What if you were sick? You can bring some sick, anything you can demonstrate. ACCA can reinstate you. So you are in Botswana. So that is the process. At my email at the end, please send it with me. We need a bit more information, and we can see if we can get that. If ACCA reinstates you, of course, you can study from both. We have students who join our live school classes from Kenya all over, so that shouldn't be an issue. Number of exams required for foundations in accounting and strategy to complete. If you remember, we said MA1, MA2. Recall? We said FA1, FA2. Okay, those are already 4 exams. And then we said after these 4, there's business and technology, there's management accounting, there's financial accounting. Remember, those final 3, which is the first 3 on ACCA. So if you want to know how many exams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 exams you take to finish FIA Foundations in Accounting. Can you finish by December? No, you can't. There's no way. Maybe if we say 2023, I'll say, okay, yeah, we can work out something. Passing 7 ACCA subjects in 1 year is a joke. So even if you're full-time, so if you ask this question, yeah, the exams are 7. There's no strategy to finish by December 2022. We don't have that strategy. I don't think that strategy exists. Okay, anyway, even if you're full-time, we can't give you a strategy to finish by December. 2 years, you can do all this, or maybe 18 months, but there's no strategy for that. Now, but remember, foundations accounting, it translates into CAT. If you wanted to complete that to CAT, we said there are 3 other modules. Foundations in audit, foundations in tax, foundation in financial management. If you're only interested in FIA, you stop here. It will take you about 18 months to 2 years, then you can move straight into ACCA. I hope that answers your question. The other question was, is it advisable to attempt all 4 final exams in 1 year? When we talk about all 4 final exams, I'm sure this person is referring to that strategic professional level. We said there is strategic business leader, there is strategic business reporting. Then we said there's advanced performance management, there's advanced financial management, and then there's advanced taxation, there's advanced quality and assurance. I'm sure the 4 you're referring to is these 2 plus any 2 year to make 4. I'm sure this person, that's what you are asking. Is it advisable to attempt all 4 exams in 1 year? Yeah, I mean, the average person passes 2 modules per semester. So you can do all 4. We have students who come and do this 2 in 1 semester. Our semester is about to start from March. We prepare you to write June exams. You get your results by August. Our next semester starts around September. We prepare you to write the December exams. So yeah, you can do this 2. You pass, get your results, you do the next 2. It is advisable. A lot of people have done that. That is how we have structured that. So I hope that answers your question. When the course structure is presented, you'll be able to see the timetable, how that works. The other question with Oxford Boost, we've already explained that. The Oxford Boost process, you can get an BSc degree and all the rest. We've also explained the issue of the ethics module, which is a module you can take 1 year to do that. Right. Okay. The other questions that came up were, the date for different terms, my colleague will talk about that. Our semesters, when they start and end. Module payment options, my colleague will talk about that. You're going to see. I'm studying for the discounts. My colleague will talk about the fee structure and duration of the program. My colleague will address that. Is online study suitable for full-time, for working full-time? Yeah, 90% of us, 99% they work full-time. Okay, so they will study part-time. But study part-time, you can come face-to-face. Part-time, which happens in evenings or weekends. Or you can do online, which is still from home. So it is true, in fact, it is the most suitable. How will it be conducted? So we're going to explain how that part will be conducted. How are classes offered? Twice a year, 4 times per subject. Again, you're going to stay attentive. I think from my side, that's basically what I wanted to share on the first part of my presentation. If you permit, I'm not going to allow my colleague. Remember, we said it's going to be 2 phases. My colleague now will come and fill in the list. How do we really operationalize this on the ground to address occasional face-to-face, our campuses, the study options, the fee, and all the rest. So can we? Can I take a? I'll still be here to make sure if there are any questions.
Thank you. All right. Hi everyone. My name is Patience. Permit me, I'll take off my mask so you can hear me clearly. I will take you through our study options and I will address the questions that you have sent us in advance on the second part of the presentation in terms of our timetables, payment structures, and I think there's quite a lot to cover there. And to make this easier, what I will do is I will use our website where you can, even after this session, you may want to compare the fees and everything. So let me go straight to that on our Chartercrest website. All right. So we've got ACCA, the qualification on its own here as, on our own webpage. And I think about ACCA, I'll not touch on anything else. New to ACCA, I know there were quite a number of questions. Mr. T has addressed them. And some I know may want or they've already started to do the exemptions search process. So when you're on our website under the new to ACCA section, just click the exemption search in your institute name. So if you're from UNISA, UJ, the country, search, the list of qualifications will show. Just make sure that you've got your transcripts because what ACCA does is they make sure that if you did accounting A and accounting 2, you qualify for that FR, for example. So I've seen some students who probably have accounting 1 and they don't have maybe 1B or something and then they don't find the exemptions. So it's quite important to have your transcripts and make sure that you map your qualification as what ACCA will offer. So I just thought I also show a link here on where you can access the exemptions. And those straight for metric, there are some who can start straight at the ACCA qualification, depending if you meet these minimum requirements. And if you have a matriculation to university, you can also. So, okay, where do you start? So step 1, you register with ACCA, like what we've been going through on the ACCA website. So this will be where you register. So once you click there, you register as a student, you get your My ACCA ID. So everything with ACCA you do online, the same way you would do with us. So if you are new to ACCA and you want to start the process, everything is done online. And then step 2 then will be to claim your exemptions. So let's say you now have a prior qualification, a degree, diploma, you then follow that process. And then step 3 is to register for classes, which is now what I will take you through our study options. So on the same webpage, after new to ACCA, those are our. So I understand that, first of all, ACCA has got 4 exam sittings. So there is the March sitting, the June sitting, the September, and then there is December. As Chartercrest, we are currently only offering 2 semesters. So we have 2 intakes. But I will now demonstrate how these intakes will assist you on your exams. So the February intake, which is what we are currently building up for now, classes will start end of February, early March, and they'll finish by end of May. So if you finish your classes by end of May, you are fresh for June exams. Or let's say you're taking 2 modules. You can say, let me write 1 module in June, and then I will write the other one in September. So you probably then use your July, August to prepare, and then you sit for the September exam. The next intake will then be in August. That intake, again, you will finish end of November, and you'll have an option to sit for the December exam. So this is also due to the interest. We need to have enough, we have to have enough number of students in the class and everything. The interest to run 4 intakes at this moment has been low. So that's why we are running classes like this. But at times we find that we have a lot of inquiries. Let's say I want to write exams in March, I want to write exams in March. We are able to run a class if we have that much. So we are also flexible to write a class. So if at any point, let's say you want to write in March, you can inquire and we can support you if there is a pool or we've got enough students to run that class. So you don't have to hesitate to ask. So I know there was a question around our different times and dates. That's how our semester is structured for the first intake and the second intake. I will take you through now to our fees and the study options. So self-sponsored students, if you are paying on your own, if your company is not sponsoring you or other bursary options you have, you need to pay a deposit of 20%. Then the balance you can pay over 6 months. Then over the 6 months period, we then have our first 2 months which are interest free. Then 3 to 4 months, I think there is not 4%, and then 5 to 6 months should be 8%. So the longer you stretch the period, then there's an interest. But you can then choose to say, okay, I'll pay over 2 months, or maybe over 6 months, and then over time you decide that, oh, okay, let me just pay this over in the next 2 months or in the next 3 months. And that interest will follow. Then we recalculate your fees according to that period of time. This applies to students who are studying only in South Africa because our collection system is able to interlink. We've got students who are probably online and they are in Mozambique, Zambia. Apparently, we are not yet linked with different banks, so collections and all of that have not been set up. So those students should pay their fees in full. But otherwise, our local South African students, whether tab or online, we've got this payment option available. We also have discounts, which I will explain to you. And that's why you find here we've got 4,350 instead of 6,250. So self-sponsored students, again, you've got an option to say, I think there was a question around that. You can choose to pay for 4 modules. You get a discount a maximum up to 20%, and you may qualify for other discounts. So choosing more modules, you get what we call a combo discount. If you get that combo discount once you choose your 4 modules, you can then split them and say, okay, here's my study plan. I'll take my first 2 modules in the February intake, and I'll take my other 2 modules in the August intake. Then you can structure your debit order over those 6 months and you qualify for the discount. If in the event that, okay, we understand you are yet to take the other 2 modules and you probably have your payment structure up to 6 months and you maybe need 2 more months extra or some sort of support, we understand you are yet to study the other 2 modules. We are flexible also to support. If you come and say, okay, I just need 1 more month extra and stuff like that, we then find a way around our support structure to give you that leeway. So at least you can study the first 2 and then study the other 2 modules that you will have. So I'll take you through now. We have what we call the TAP option and the EPOP option. So these 2 options, they are in person. So if you want to be coming to campus, these are the 2 options that we have. However, we also have an option for you to live stream. So you can choose to come in person, or if that one weekend you're probably busy, you've got year-end, month-end, or anything that or other obligations, that you have, you can choose to then study online live stream. So our live stream is a bit different from this because it is an event. We normally would want to have everybody muted, but if it's a class, you have an app which you unmute yourself, you interact with the lecturer. So it's almost like a Zoom type of online setup that we have. So these are the 2 options. So what I will take you through now is, I think I'll need to open our timetable so you can easily see how the classes are linked. So this would be ACCA, for example. I will choose a strategic professional. Let me choose another module as applied skills. So this is here Trivonia. So I must also mention that we've got online classes. We have classes in part-time applied skills. Applied knowledge, that's your BT, FA, and MA. They only run from Parktown campus. Central Ribonia, we run applied skills and all the other levels, strategic professional level. E-campus, you can attend any because you beam into our own classes that we are running. So from anywhere you are, you can. So I will put in Central Ribonia because we want strategic professional. We've got 2 intakes, so our timetables are already up. So if you want to start already planning, you have an option to come through here around with the timetables. There is the tab option. I'll also put in the default. So I'm going to choose my APM and I'll choose another module here at the bottom of the PM. So you get a sense how this links with the timetable. So you see APM runs on evenings. So here at the Central Ribonia campus, if you're online, it's the same because that same one class is the one we live stream. So this APM module, that's APM. So it starts on the 7th of March. So when I look at the structure now, we say we've got 7 to 9 full tuition classes, and we've got 3 exam preparation classes. So this 7 to 9 full tuition classes, we are breaking down the APM syllabus or module to say, okay, day 1 we'll do chapter 1 and chapter 2. We'll teach you through all the concepts. Day 2 we'll do chapter 3 and 4. There is a way that we have all of these structured. And then after that tuition phase, we should then be saying, okay, you should be ready now to do revision. Now you need to apply that knowledge. We give you more tests, pre-mocks, mock exams, to make sure that by the time you write the final ACCA exam, you have really, really been prepared. You have seen different ways ACCA will test your knowledge on what you would have studied with us throughout. So these are these 3 exam preparations. The reason why I opened the timetable is to also show you. So this will be your class 1, 2, 3. I think there's a holiday there. Class 3, class 4. Then there's a test. Don't worry about that. We'll come into it. Class 5, class 6, class 7, class 8. So this is the first part where we say for 7 to 9. So it just depends with the module. Some modules you might have 7, 8, 9, depending on the content that we need to cover. So that's when then we've got your 7 to 8 tuition classes. Exam prep, we said we've got 3 here. So we go through that. I will explain the test now. So after your first 4 classes, you write a test 1. This test 1 covers 50% of the syllabus that you have covered here from class 1 to class 4. We just don't want to pump you with all the knowledge. At least we want you to also start testing yourself and say, okay, I'm ready, I know this. Okay, I need to revise chapter 2, I didn't get it. Or okay, I think my whole study method or my study planning or the way I'm approaching this is totally different. I can't get 0 out of 100 or 20%. You know, I need to step up, I need to put more time in my studies. So we will then give you this test 1. You see, it opens on the 5th and closes on the 7th. So it's like 2 days. All our tests are done online. They are done on a CBE platform, which is exactly the same as the final ACCA CBE platform. This applies to applied skills and strategic professional. So we also start giving you that experience whilst you are attending our classes. Because on the first day of class, you don't want to, on your first day, you're writing an exam. You don't want to open the CBE platform and then you're finding everything is new and you are lost and you don't know what to do. So we give you that experience already. So during these 2 days, you need to allocate time to say, okay, I need to find time to do my test. You can't start and leave it. It's not like an assignment. When you start, you need to finish it. Once the time has run out, you can't have another attempt. So the first test, normal test, ACCA exams are 3 hours. So our test 1, I'm going to give you 50%. We need to get you into it gradually. So it's going to be in 1 hour, 45 minutes. So it's going to be half mock or the final exam. Then you come back, you get your feedback actually before your next class. So you at least know how to prepare yourself. When we come back, class 5, I've seen other lecturers, they start addressing here to say, guys, you didn't do well. we need to go back to certain areas. I can't move forward. Others will say, okay, we'll address issues at revision. Let's continue. Then you do the rest of the syllabus. Then you face your test 2, which again covers what you would have done from your class 6, class 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's a lot of holidays. So you do holidays, yeah? But you find your second semester, you hardly have holidays because I think there's only 1 or 2 Women's Day, but you see, this one is quite tough. So if you actually have time, this might be the best to take 2 modules, for example, because you've got enough time and there is room for you to study. Then you do your test 2, you get your tutor's feedback again. Then here we start to say, okay, now if you did not have any revision, we'll revise your test 1, your test 2. Remember, this is half mocks. We're preparing you. Then you write a mock exam. So this is now like a 3-hour paper. You should be ready. You should be ready to get above 50. If you see yourself getting 30, okay, we'll come back and we'll revise. Let's see what went wrong. All right, let's fix it, right? You get another mock 2. At least this time you should get it. If you still don't get it, you get your feedback, there's another class we'll prepare. You see here, you are right closer to the exam. It will be like in the following week already. So you need to be making sure that whilst you're in it, you're gearing yourself up, you're preparing to write the final exam. And you're making sure that, okay, you have every opportunity, you're talking to the lecturer, and you'll also see now as I go back here, so all the classes will be recorded, so you can catch up. There are other pre-recorded videos as well. So you can be able to prepare before a class, go through that. Or if you missed a class or you missed a live stream, you can again catch up on those recorded classes. We give you a Kaplan study text in our tech package because remember we break down each module and then we said chapter 2, chapter 3. So this study text is like your manual with everything. So you need that. So that's what you almost carry to class every week. You use it to prepare before your next class. Then you get a Kaplan practice kit, which has exam questions, as well as a BPP practice kit. So this comes with a tech package. It's actually the BPP is a bonus. Remember, we need you to pass your exams. The more questions you take, you prepare after your classes, besides your test, the better you are prepared to face the final exam. So you will then get your practice kits. So these are the hard copy books you get. The hard copy books have got a code you can scratch, and then you get an online access to the book again, and some extra questions from both Kaplan and BPP. So there's quite a lot of materials that you get. Remember from our timetable, you get test 1 and test 2, that is the CBE progress test, and then you get 2 CBE final mocks as well, which is that mock 1 and mock 2 that you get at the end. And then there's a more support, so it's like a scheme of work or what we call our home study kit that details what you face on each class or each day. So it will give you a structure to say, okay, this is our 9 classes for APM, for example. Day 1, you will cover this. Day 2, you will cover this. So this is more of a home study kit or what we call scheme of work. Students e-course notes. So you will get a version of the lecturer slides. Only that your version would have certain things that are not included. So as the lecture is going on, in your e-course notes, you need to kind of write. So they are printable from our student portal. So you will get that as well as interactive online support. We've got WhatsApp groups. So you'll be able to chat with your lecturers or your other colleagues and our admin team as well. So if you've got an issue, can't get your emails, or you think about it before you forget you want to send through, you're free to send us a WhatsApp, and you've got 1 year access to our eCampus portal. So though it's 1 year, but we want to encourage you write your exams as you finish your classes. You don't want to wait until you do one module for 2 years, 3 years. Then we have our e-book option on our in-person options, right? So this is for someone who probably has done this on their own. You did your first one, your second attempt, maybe you didn't pass. Maybe you feel like you've got the knowledge, but you lack exam techniques. So you can join our exam preparation classes, which are 1,150 module. And then, so it means you only get those 3 last exam classes and those 2 final mock exams. So it's almost like exam preparation only. You don't get any tuition. There's no Kaplan study text. The only one you get is the Kaplan practice because you are preparing for exams. And you also get online support and to be 1-year access. And you will have access to our lecturers. So all our fees, they do not include any fees to ACCA. You have to pay your registration, annual subscription, exam fee separately. On-demand exams, so we've got a brochure with the exam fees, or whilst you're doing your quotation, add those as well, I'll also show you. So we offer ATX and TX South African variant, because we understand you are from here, so you'd want to know or understand Enroll. So we do offer the ATX variant, and it comes with its own separate books. So Kaplan and PPP, they don't write the South African variant books, but they are local recommended books by ACCA, which we then provide you. So ATX will give you the silk. It's called South African Income Tax. TX is provided by Enroll. It's called Fundamentals on South African Income. So those are the 2 different books that we give. For law, we go with the UK variant. That's what we actually provide, and it comes with the cap and the text. Unfortunately, we don't do the law South African variant. Other students may also. Then besides this, so like I say, these ones you can live stream and you can come in person. We do have our live stream option, and I will take you there now. So whilst you're here, I'll come back to the SBL classes. So once you're here, then you see there is the live stream interactive, there's the recorded videos, and then there's the videos and post. So the live stream interactive is exactly just like that. Only that you are not coming in person, and you get ebooks. On these books, they are ebooks. You've got an option, however, to get hard copy. So you can then say, okay, I'm in Kenya, I'm happy, give me the package as it is. Or you can say, no, I'm in SA and I actually want hard copy books. So let me get this, and then I think you get an extra 500 Rand on that, and then you can get your books couriered. So whilst you're studying at home, live stream, you've got hard copy. So you've got an option for either ebooks or hard copy books. If you have hard copy books, when you scratch them, you get access to the ebooks. So the good thing about the hard copy books is that you have for ebooks version. Only that with the ebooks version, then other people actually prefer ebooks only. So it all depends. And you get the bonus if you did under the live stream package, right? Otherwise, the mocks, they're the same, and the benefits, they're the same again with your tab. The recorded videos, again, is just the same with tab, except, again, you get ebooks, but you don't get that weekly interaction with the lecturer. Your classes are pre-recorded. You all access everything online. It's more like a self-study option. Though the good thing is you can then get your mocks marked by a lecturer. So when these students are taking their mocks online, you are also taking them online. So you need to take them over the days that we prepare. Then you get your detailed solutions after, just like these students get their solutions, and then you can be able to see. You have WhatsApp groups, so you can also even ask your lecturer where you feel like, okay, here, what did you mean by this comment? You can interact with the lecturer. The last option is the videos and notes only. So there are other students who just say, okay, you know what, I've got my books already. I just need more guidance. So let me get your videos and your tutor's notes, because when the lecturer is going through the videos, you need to understand those slides. So that's why we give you an access to post notes. So other students prefer that. So those are the options that we have under online, and I've gone through the campus options. What you will notice is on every package, you see your SBL has got a higher fee. So this module is actually much more than your normal ACCA module, and we actually structured this module In the past, it used to be 2 modules. For those who are familiar with the ACCA qualification, there used to be P1 and P3. Yes. So ACCA combined them. So even if you look at the textbook for SBL, it's like this big, twice as much. And we have structured this course around three phases, and it's a lot of work. Even the time we devote to it is a lot of work. Even if you look at what ACCA recommends a student to spend time on SBL, as a lot more than any other module. I think it is hundreds more hours that you need to spend on it. So we have our pre-reading phase where we give you access to the portal. We've got certain case studies that you need you to prepare, understand exactly what is going on there. And then we actually then go through into our tuition phase where our classes, though are 7, they're actually 7 hours long. They are not your normal 3-hour classes. So you go through there 4 hours, sometimes we add classes. And the good thing is Miss T who takes these classes, so I'm now sure you understand how much we're going to the course. And we go through then our exam preparation phase. Like I explained, we then start to give you mocks. Normally SBO actually has more mocks than those 2 that you get at the end. So that's why this course, you find that the fees, even for, I didn't add the here. But the fees, the on-campus is actually almost twice. It's 13,800 for one module for SPL. And the online classes, it's 8,500 for your pre-recorded classes and all of that. So that's more or less what we have around our classes. I've explained the structure of the days, the semesters, the payment options. I know before I leave, there's a question. I'm happy to take it.
So I just want to ask the content, the books and things that you guys provide. Do we need to buy extra books or anything like that, like textbooks?
Good question at the right time. So ACCA would recommend a study text and a practice. We actually go overboard, even extra revision. We believe that these materials should be enough for you to understand and get a lot more questions. However, as a student, you can go overboard and get as much extra questions, extra books you can.
I can add that the simple answer to your question is no. From what we give to you, unless you really want to just be killing yourself, everything is there. You don't need to spend any other thing outside.
Yes. All right. Sure. You got to spend answer. All right. Yes. Then I think what I just need to touch on before I proceed is the C. So for students who are doing ET, FA, and MA, and law, because they are on-demand exams, we are an exam center. So after you finish your classes, you can then book to write your exams with us, even the FIA, FA1, MA1, and but those doing applied skills going forward, those session-based, computer-based exams, you have to go to an ACCA exam center. They've got specific ones in Joburg, in Pretoria. You make sure you book the exams on time. By the exam deadlines, I think there are some, if you're writing in June, I think by early May, you should have booked your exams and all of that. So you need to ensure you do that. If you enroll with us, you are then able to, we can remit the exam fees on your behalf, but you need to ensure that you book ahead of time, and then we remit the exam fee. So obviously the next step is how to enroll, how to get a quotation, how to get started. So on the website, top right here, where it says get free codes and enroll, you come there, and then you go through this. If you just want to get a free code emailed or you want to register and enroll, you can just do that straight away and book PC exams. So this is for the on-demand exams. Or if you want to buy books only, I'll also take you through the process. So let's say you say, okay, for now I understand, but I'm doing this module. I just want to get the book study and then come back. We are an online bookshop without being a student. You can just log in to buy it. So you want to get a free code. So like I said, these are our campuses. I've explained where we offer which modules. And as you come here, sorry, Pretoria campus. So yes, we do. No, at this point, the interest of ACCA classes in Pretoria is very low. So normally we have combined them here in Livonia. But sometimes we do get interest and uptake, and we are also flexible to run our classes in Pretoria. But part-time, I think I explained, we offer the applied knowledge, and then Sentinel and online, the rest of the modules you can learn. So we then come here, if you are ACCA face-to-face, so those combo discounts, they apply to our ACCA face-to-face, the TEP package. But if you're going online, you don't get. So that's why we have explained where you get the face-to-face and part-time, which is applied knowledge and applied skills. Then the Livonia campus, we currently have one intake. We are yet to load our next semester. Okay. So let's say you want to take FR, which runs in evenings. Okay. Even our timetable to show which runs in the evening. There is AA, there is financial management, then there is performance management that runs on the weekend. So you can then choose and say, okay, I want to take all these 4 modules for now. So by the way, you can come back and play around with it. I want to take these 4 modules for now, and this is applied skills. So I'll go straight to applied skills. I want to get my exam fee for all, I think it's FMAA, PM, and TX. We can pay your annual subscription fee on your behalf. If you're a lapsed student, we can re-register you. So all you need to do is to go in, fill in the form, send us your credentials, give us the authorization, and we'll log in. So at any level, you are able to come back, add your exam fees, subscription fees, anything to ACCA, then we can do it on your behalf. And then the next page again is where we've got our discounts. So if you're choosing any 4 modules, already you see that a combo discount of 20% has been selected. And if you attended an open day like today, you actually get a discount, that's 25%. If you have your own books, so other students have got valid books for that year, they get a discount. And we also recommend you make sure it's the current year's books. If you're a returning student, you can select there, put in your details so that our system will recognize that you get a discount. If you are paying a deposit in this month and assigning a debit order again within this month, you get a discount. Or if you're paying in full, you get a discount. Like I explained, 20% deposit balance over 6 months, and according to the interest structures that we have. And if you can, there's also an option to say you get a 30% flat discount. So this discount for 30%, even if you're paying maybe for 1 module, as long as you're paying for it in full by end of this month, you get a 30% discount. It's different from the combo discounts where you have to select 4, qualify for 20. So if you come through and say you want to do SBR or pay in full by 31st January, you can then qualify for the 30% on that 1 module. This is the only promotion that we have for now until 31st January. After that, then you then have to say, I think maybe let me get 2 so I get a discount. If it's 1 module, you probably have to select applicable discounts according to that 1 module. This option, this very good for obviously not get better. Our maximum discount allowed at 30%. So even if I select this, it's not going to give me. All right, so we'll go next. So this is just to show you how to get your quotation. So this will be your 4 modules with a 7,500 discount. Now you understand 17,500. This is your exam fees. Unfortunately, if you could write and pay later, that option would be available. But at this point, you can then have to, when we go to the next page, enter the details, then you structure to say, okay, I want to pay everything now, or all right, what is my 20% that I should pay now, and my balance over 6 months, what's my monthly installment? You play around with all of that. Yeah, so at any point you can come to see what works for you. And like I said again, if you take these 4, you can then say, okay, my study plan is to take these 2 in the first intake. and then I'll take the other 2 in August intake. Then you structure when you run to write your exam. For example, I'll say, all right, I think FR is demanding, maybe I'll take FR now, then write in June, write auditing in September with that 1 month gap to study. And then you take FM and PM in our second intake, classes starting September until November. You may say, okay, let me write PM, and then I can take FM lastly in the March thing. And at least you know you have taken advantage of the combo discounts and you split your study options around what our intakes. That's what we have. Maybe by next year we will have 4 intakes. If the interest grow, then take it from there. But that's more or less what we have around our ACCA program. So fees or study options. I think I've covered everything from classes to exams. I will go back to where we have your questions, and then let me see if we have addressed everything or if we still have more questions to address. Miss Francie answered part 1, and the second part was the dates for the different terms. I think we've gone through that, February, August. Module payment options, I think we have also gone through that for self-sponsored students, 20% deposit and balance over 6 months. If I study for 4 ACCA exams, 2 in first semester and 2 in second semester, how do I pay for this? Pay for all 4 in the first 6-month period for the discount, or I can pay 2 in the first semester and 2 in the second semester? I think the question is more, can I go above the 6 months period, which I did say that we are flexible and you can speak to our accounts department, and then you can see which option works for you based on the interest options that we have as well.
No, I think this person is trying to get to combo 4, but not want to pay all 4
in the 6 months.
That's what this person is trying to do.
They want to pay 2 at once.
Yes.
And then 2 later.
The answer is no. If you want to get combo 4, you can choose combo 4. I don't know who asked this question. You can choose the combo 4 to get to that discount, but split the way you want to study the 4.
Yes.
So I'll study 2, then come and study 2. You can't choose combo 4, get a discount, but want to pay 2 first, then come and. Then you should just go for combo 2. It's not fair. You should just go for combo 2, forfeit some of the discount. I'm not an accountant, by the way, so.
Yeah. Yes, okay. Then the next question was the fee structure, and I think I've also taken you through our semester over a 3 to 4 months period. And is online study suitable for those working full time? It is. As you can see, our classes, they start from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the evenings or over weekends. And you are able, you just don't have to take a lot. I've seen other students taking 3 modules, and then they end up dropping the other. If you can, some of we all have different roles and different demands. I think what you need to do is to assess and say, okay, I think this module and this module they work well together, or maybe take one, and then you can study over weekends and evenings, which is outside your working hours, and you can still do it. And is it after work and weekends, which is what we've just explained, evenings after work and weekends, for those who don't work on weekends, how it's conducted really and when. I think we've gone through the schedule where you can access the timetable and the interactiveness of if it's online or if you're on campus, and how classes are offered twice a year, 4 times per subject. I think we've also gone through our intakes, 2 intakes, but you then choose how you take your modules and align them to the 4 exam cycles that is. I know you had a question, maybe whilst we edit.
I just wanted to confirm. These classes they are recorded. So obviously even for example.
Yes.
Or we can still the recordings for that particular class, but also recording from other classes. So under the tab option.
Yes.
So when they speak of videos, those are the videos that they speak.
Yes.
the class that in case that you were not there during that, and maybe even the other videos.
Yes, that's correct. So your access will have, let's say, the whole pack of classes we had from last semester, for example, if you want to be ahead and stuff. And for that semester, you will have videos for, let's say, day 1, day 2. You can still go back to day 1. So you still have access of all the videos that you would have.
All right. So you don't miss anything. If you miss the whole day, we take 2 days after a class to upload it. So if you miss a class on Wednesday, then am I correct?
It takes 2 working days to do that.
Yes, if you have missed a class on Wednesday, by Friday, we have everything up. So you have that class you missed, okay, the whole thing. But you also, if it's class number 5, you also have the whole semester's class number. You find that it's all there under your portal, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Sometimes it's a different lecturer this semester. It's good to have but sometimes it's the same lecturer. So you find it's the same thing.
So you have 2 options of that same class as well.
Last question, so that
Yes.
option. Say you choose, for example, that you will come face to face, but it just so happens that you decided to go the
Online.
live stream online. That's I guess because the fact that you've chosen TEF, you have both options.
Options, correct.
It's either or.
Correct. That's correct.
TEP includes online. Okay, but online does not include TEP. Oh, sorry.
Like
TEP, face-to-face, TEP includes online. So you can start face-to-face, say, I don't want to come, I'll continue online.
Yes.
But an online guy who chose TEP online cannot just suddenly start wanting to come to class. Because there are logistics issues involved. We in class due to COVID, the class sizes class we used to have 15, we can now only run 7. So you can't just come and add to the class, but you can come out of the class and do your online.
All right, thank you. I think I had answered part 2 questions. If there are any further questions, what we'll do then is, I know there are questions, and we do have students who are online and who are here. So what we can do is we'll first take, whilst the online, the team is preparing the questions, we'll take 1 question from the floor, then we'll take 1 online, 1 here, 1 online. So I think anyone here who's got a question whilst our online moderators are preparing, I can take a question.
The law one is based on the UK law, not here, but the tax is based on SA. Is there, do you have extra modules or other modules where the tax, where there's a tax module based on New Zealand or Australia or UK?
Okay, I get your question. There's a premise to your question carries that I just need to correct. The law, you have the option of choosing UK law or South African law.
Oh, yeah, the option.
So I did not mean that it is based on UK law. In the law stream, for instance, in South Africa, we chose, if you say you want to do company law, the one we teach is South African company law. So even those who write the paper, there are some students who are writing UK law. There are some who are writing South African law. The one done by South Africa is set by South African examiners who are affiliated with the map as such. Even tax. Okay, there's UK tax, there's SA tax. So that tax module you saw there, what we are teaching here is the SA tax. I don't know if you follow.
Yeah.
ACCA has papers that like financial reporting. They have UK financial reporting, financial for law. So they have different variants. So I know you mentioned New Zealand and the rest. We wouldn't, that option exists, but we wouldn't do it here.
You do it UK one.
Is that we don't do UK one here. When we started, we were doing UK one. But we realized that, for instance, tax, we don't teach UK tax. Because majority of the students from here, they study here, they want to work here. So we are teaching the South African variant of the tax paper.
But law, it's UK.
So law UK or South African?
No.
Law we teach it. Are you sure?
Yeah, law is UK, but
My apologies.
TX, it's South Africa.
It's South Africa. Oh, then
Only
my apologies.
law,
So for law, we teach.
yes, law is UK.
That's I'm asking
she runs with the details. So I'm gonna, if she says it's UK law, then it's UK law. But I know tax in particular, we teach SA tax.
Just follow up what you was asking is actually parity related to New Zealand. So for us, the intention is why South African tax version, when we can go straight on doing the New Zealand tax module. But obviously having access online to the New Zealand module online and do virtual sessions or
There should be, we can facilitate that. Remember, the reason we don't do it because there's no demand. Are you with me? You probably find that it's only the two of you who are interested in the UK, but we can facilitate that. Let's say you're one of our students and you don't want to do SA tax because your intention is to go to New Zealand. We can facilitate with our counterpart to provide it so that you enroll here for the resident, we pass you over to them for the tax payment. So that you then follow the online New Zealand tax. We've had similar things, but from different, where somebody wants to do Zimbabwe tax, and we don't do it here. We do everything, then we want.
All right. So I'll take a question online, and we'll come back here. Shazel Raisija, do you have any questions online?
Hi, Ms. Mukondwa. Yes, we have a question from Sianda saying if you were exempted for applied knowledge and applied skills level, can you still apply for the BSc degree?
Sianda, the answer is no. You can't get the degree by exemption. You have to have studied those modules and passed. So the answer is no. However, I know ACES has a policy where if you wanted to apply for that degree, but even they grant you exemptions for all the modules, I think there are some 3 modules. So say if you want to get that degree, you must choose these 3. Even though you were exempted from it, you must choose it and do it and pass. That will then allow you to apply for that degree. But just on the basis that you came with some degree, were exempted, you want to do that, it's not going to work. The chances are that in the first place, for you to get exemption from applied knowledge and applied skills, the chances are that you already have a degree. So it is highly unlikely that with a degree you will try to get another degree. So, but technically speaking, you can't. If that was the case, you can't. You will have to do 2 or 3 more modules to benefit from. So we have to face to face.
Yes, thank you for stepping in. Anyone here who has a question?
if I heard correctly, you said for the MSc, you don't need to complete the strategic level. You can go after BSc, you can go apply through the Oxford Brook University and then apply for the MSc. That is
for the BSc, not the MSc.
BSc and after that MSc.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the BSc, the BSc can be used to access the MSc. You can go that route, get the MSc. Sorry, for those who are online, the question is, if I've got the BSc, can I access the MSc without necessarily finish the ACCA? The answer is yes. You can finish the MSc and still come back to finish your ACCA. That's fine.
All right, thanks for that. Online, Raisija, do we have another question?
Okay, the other question is from, yes, the other question is from Paul. I'm a member of SAIPA. Will that meet the qualification criteria of the experience needed to get the ACCA qualification?
I'm a member of SAIPA. I'm sure you're cyber. I'm a member of cyber. Does my experience as a member of cyber meet the experience requirements for ACCA? The answer is largely yes. I know a number of cyber members, but you don't just go and take your experience from cyber and say because I'm cyber ACCA, they'll sign me up. That's not how it works. Yes, I know that your cyber experience is equivalent to the 3 years experience for ACCA. However, you have to take that cyber experience and rewrite it in a particular manner. ACs have their own format, how they want you to lay out things. So it's like you have to take your CV, you're applying for a different job, you have to rearrange that job. You're not changing anything. So the answer is yes, but you have to take it and rewrite it. There's a format that you need to follow to demonstrate that this experience under cyber is equivalent to this experience under ACC. You have to remap that, and then ACC will sign that off.
Thank you for the feedback. Raisita, how many questions do we have online, please?
How many more questions do we have online?
Just a moment, let me check.
All right, so you can check while here. Yes, sure. I think there was a question at the back. Okay, all right. So the question is...
we should consider FM. The question is, you mentioned that we should consider FM before doing all the applied skills. No, you may not have heard me. I would say you should consider FM as among the last. It should be one of the last. It is not the last, but that and one other module in the applied skills area. Not you should consider at the end, not before. Ideally, because all the other modules they feed in FM. However, although ACC allows you to be doing some applied skills module, there's no rule which says you must finish all applied skills before you go to. So you know that. If you there's no, while you can take one subject in applied skills and another subject in professional in the same exam, it's allowed. There is flexibility in that regard. If you're going to go the Oxford book route, then you have to clear all those applied skills. So even if you are taking like this, you cannot go that route unless you clear all these. But if while you are going, you can take one applied skills and one this. It is not recommended, but you can do it. You can clearly see some of them are linking to the other. So you want to clear this so that that becomes easier for you. So it's not recommended, but you can do it. Similarly, financial management, you can take it. It's among the last. If you have finished these other ones, it becomes easy to pass this module. But you can also take it together with something. It's worse if you are taking it together with something and you've also not finished something here. It's going to be a big problem for you. You won't have it. But ACC allows you to do it. It sets you up for failure. As a school, we say, please don't. If you insist, go for it. Yes.
From your experience,
from my experience, you are left with PM and FM. Okay, yes. I just answered that. I would do FM. I would do both at the same time, or I would do FM last after I've cleared PM. There's a lot going on in FM that draws from. So either two concurrently, or if sequentially, then PM first, then FM later. Great. Any other question?
All right.
We do online, we come back.
Yes, I think we can take online. Raisita, back to you now. Firstly, how many more questions do we have? And you can.
We have 10 more questions.
All right, sure. So please give us 2 questions. I'm sure we know the pace.
Okay, then I need to summarize my answer. The first one, go.
We have a question from Zandile. Does it matter if one already completed SICA articles?
Does it matter if one already completed SICA articles? Matter in terms of what? Let me answer it. It's a bit vague. If you have completed SICA articles, it matters to the extent that SICA articles might be the same experience that you need for your 3 years. So it would matter. But it would not matter in respect of your exemption. You cannot get exemptions on the basis of some work experience. There are 2 different things. So that would be my answer. The next one.
Zandile also came back again saying, I also have MBA and I didn't include it when applying for exemptions. Can I still apply for the additional exemptions?
So Zandile, you have an MBA, you have applied for exemptions, you've obtained the exemption, but you forgot to include your MBA. Can you go back and include? Yes, you can. If the MBA was there, you can go back and put it. I doubt though, MBAs not generally get a lot of exemptions. If you have a first degree in accounting and an MBA, the first degree will give you more exemptions than the MBA, because MBA is not very. So I don't know what exemptions you got before now, but it's a qualification you had. You might just, the officer and minister might just ask you, why did you not first disclose the MBA? Why are you only disclosing now? You should be ready to give good reasons why, when you first ask for exemptions, you did not disclose the MBA. And I'm sure if the reason is reasonable, they will look at the MBA and look at wherever you would have gotten exemption and they will grant that. That shouldn't be an issue. But I doubt you can get much from the MBA. Maybe business and technology will exempt you. Apart from that, I don't see much happening. Yes, the next one. Raisika, the next question. Go.
The next question from Benjamin. Hi, I liked what you said concerning ACCA gaining auditing rights in South Africa with IRBA. I'd like to ask, where can I read on further on trends of this process?
I like what you said about ACCA gaining audit recognition. I would like to, where can I read on trends in this process? Let me be clear, you can't read it anywhere. Okay? I'm telling you something that I know. Okay? It's a process which is unfolding. There's not been any formal, it's there on ACCA website that we have launched an application. That's all you can see. It doesn't tell you where we are on the application. So I'm giving you what I know in terms of my experience sitting as a member of it. It is not nowhere published, and there are some specific things I know about the process that I cannot even disclose because it's not yet been disclosed. It will be wrong. What I can fully disclose is that ACCA applied more than 1 year ago. The process evaluation started more than 1 year ago. There's a panel evaluating it. I am a member of that panel. They've given us March 31st to conclude so that the board can make a decision before the end of the year. It is not written anywhere, but I know it to be so. So if you're willing to trust me, please just trust me and accept that that is how it is. But I'm sure you will trust me more when the announcement finally can remember that, oh, that's what it was. But other than that, there's no other information. Yes, next one.
Next one from Elma. Does ACCA qualification guarantee you for a job?
Remove the word guarantee, nothing like this. Does ACCA qualification, I'm sure you said, does it enhance your chances of getting a job? Of course it does. Look, in my experience, I've got a lot of this qualification. Ultimately, in my experience, it's about you. Really, it's about you. You got ACCA, I have. She has. It might open the door for you to come make your case. So if I call people, I want ACCA candidates who got it. I've got 3 of them. They've all applied. You all have it. There's no guarantee. You then have to come and prove what sets you apart. If you come and give you a case study, I say, as a company, we want to analyze, show us how you deal with it. Okay? We all did ACCA, maybe we do not have the same pass marks, and somebody will come and do better. So I wouldn't say it guarantees you a job. I would say it definitely puts you at a very strong level with other strong qualifications, like CASA, like CIMA, to get you to be invited to make your case. What you then do after that door is open is up to you. That is where the guarantee might not be so much of a guarantee.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Yes. Let's try one face to face. We'll come back on. I know there are about 5 more there. We'll lower those numbers. I hope there's not also 10 here.
Yes. I just want to ask, when you say, if I go register now and register for 4 modules, I'm in the strategic. I have those 4 I need to go do. I register for all 4 now, and I pay for all 4 now. Do I make an arrangement with you guys to say I want to do 2 now and 2 in the second semester? How does that
Yeah,
work?
that's how
I
it
just
works.
come and tell you I'm doing 2 now and 2 later.
No, you register for the 4, do your payment. You say, guys, I've registered for 4, but I want to do it now. I'll do the next. Just send us email.
Just an email.
Yeah, because remember, you have to get your books.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you all the 4 books.
Yeah.
We'll tell you, if you want all 4 now, fine. But we'll recommend you don't take all 4 because the books changes. Say, okay, I want to do this 2 now. Then we'll give you the books for this. And then we hold this other one. You play it, when you come out, we'll give you. Every day is a new edition of books. It gets changed every year. Then we give you those new editions. If you don't tell us, we ship all the books to you. Okay? You only attend 2. We will notice that you're not attending the other. We'll still move you to do the other 2 later, but we might not be able to take back those books. So it's for you to tell us that I want to do this 2, I'll come back to that, so then we can arrange it, right? I don't want to say something and then you tell me.
No, that's definitely correct.
Sorry, who would you email?
So when we confirm your enrollment, finance will put you in contact with your campus representatives. So for here it will be Mary or Lerato or possibly Precious. So but everyone will be copied in the email and then they will.
They'll tell you, thank you for your payment, it's been assigned, it's fine attached. Whatever, this is the person who will take you over from now. The campus person takes you over, then you can then say, okay, this is how I want to do it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, great
Thank
stuff.
you.
Online, quick. Receipt are online, 2 more. So we left with 3. Where's the next one online?
Elma again, can you apply for ACCA qualification from the foundation even though you have BCom honors degree?
Can you apply from the foundation even though you have become honors degree? I guess Emma is wanting to know, can I have a degree and choose to not ask for exemption? Of course, you simply, exemption is declarative, you ask for it. If you don't ask for it, all you have to prove is that you have a minimum requirement. So if it's an A level, you show your A level, they allow you to start, then you can get these very, very high marks.
You said.
So yes, the simple answer is you can forfeit your degree and start from the beginning. It's up to you. Next one.
What's the pass mark for each module?
Tabile, pass mark is 50%. You need 50% to pass any single module. It's not like we're told sometimes metric 30% gets you to pass. Sorry, Tabile is 50%. Is the pass mark minimum for all the modules. Next one.
Gogejo, can I write 8 exams in a year?
How many? 8. How many 8? This is 8.
Yeah.
I think you should. The question should be, can I pass 8? Because you can write 15 if you want. The question is, can I write and pass 8? 8 you can write. Can you pass 8? I don't know you. I don't know your cognitive ability, but no. No, you can't write and pass 8. Even if you're a full-time student, you just maybe 1 out of 1,000 people can pull that off. But no, just don't do that, please. I beg you. Next one. Next one.
Bamidele. From Bamidele, can you please bring data quest to Palaborwa, Limpopo? I would love face-to-face classes in preparation for my exams.
Palaborwa, sorry, your name again?
Bamidele.
Kamidele, can you please bring data quest to Palaborwa? This is not even Limpopo. This is not even Polokwane. Not even the capital city, Polokwane. Look. Sorry, I didn't. We had once tried Polokwane, which is the capital city of. Sorry, what's the capital city? Yeah, it's Polokwane. The capital city of Limpopo. We had once tried that, and the numbers did not look so good. I mean, as face to face. We once tried that. We get a course, one person here, two persons there. It was just not viable. We had to be getting lecturers. Our best lecturers are all here. We had to be getting lecturers to go there and teach for one student and two students. We tried that 5 years ago for Polokwane, it didn't work. Then I'd imagine if it's Palaboa, which I'm sure is further away from Polokwane, it might be difficult. We wish we could. Economically, it is not viable. So I can tell you now that we don't see that happening even in the next 2 years. So we can't. Just can't, it wouldn't work. We tried it before, Polokwane did not work. So I can't see how Palaboa would work because it's a lot more further away from Polokwane. So next question. So your best bet then is to do online. I know you want face to face, but your best bet then is online, which is not as effective as face to face, but that is the best you can have given your geographical distance that you face with. Next one.
Tebetsile, but why is it that foreign students don't have the flexibility payments benefit? Isn't it fair that CharterQuest sets up a collection point for foreign students so that we enjoy the same benefits as locals? Secondly, will it be fine if I cross over and deposit into your account and enjoy the same benefit?
Okay, this person is probably now currently not in South Africa. He's saying, why is it that international students don't have the same payment benefits like local students? Would it be fine if I cross over to South Africa and then enjoy the benefit? Fair, want to answer? Let me answer. Fair question. All over the world, international students pay more than local students. If you want to go and study in any European country, they'll ask you, are you a citizen of EU or you're a citizen of any country outside Europe? You will see their fee there. A citizen of Europe, once you study in a European university, pays a fee different from a non-EU. That is how it is. Even in vets, if you want to go and enroll as an international student, they will have fees there. Then you have a different section for international students. So I think the fairness starts from there. Okay, all we have done as a school is to reflect that same best practice, which is the way we treat. It's just that you can ask, why do we give discounts to self-sponsored students but not discounts to companies? I do recognize the potential unfairness in it, but we are a South African school. We pay our taxes here. We owe it to South Africa to move the aspirations of the country. So it is only inherent. Education is something that you should have maximum access. It's only inherent that being here, we have to give the most favorable terms. So technically, if you're outside, you are technically subsidizing the people inside. And that is what international best practice looks like. So that is why our fee payment system, and in fact, international students, you pay us in pounds, in dollars. Okay, you can't pay that you are not in South Africa.
President, for example, who would join our
Yeah, but the payment is.
Yes, but the question was almost also they pay you that by our e-can.
Yes.
But they don't have the flexibility in a debit order collection. President, who you do in South Africa, which you have to do.
Okay.
But I think the other part was now, can I not just structure it and cross the border every month, have and pay my installment before it?
Officers, that shouldn't be an issue. I mean, if that is the problem, it didn't make sense to me. How would somebody be crossing the border to come and make payment?
Yes, I think I thought I stepped in, but obviously there are areas around credit checks and how we run things around South Africa. Maybe it's a unique case.
Okay, let me put it. If your query is about e-campus, we don't discriminate on e-campus. So for online, whether you are outside of South Africa, we discriminate on the payment facility.
The payment structure.
Yes. The price is the same.
Yes, the price is
for e-campus. Whether you are in Zimbabwe, is the same for e-campus. However, a local person, correct me if I'm wrong, because they have banking facility, they have a debit order that you can pay. But we don't have a debit order with a bank in Nigeria. We don't have that.
Yeah, so that's the student who is asking, can we not expand and start having those collection facilities with the bank in Swaziland? If not, can I still be on that payment structure instead of paying 100% and cross every month to South Africa to come and do a bank deposit into the FNB account for South Africa if we don't have a collection facility, let's say from a bank in Swaziland?
Look, let me answer. We clearly don't. There's a process to go into this level with local banks. It is a foreign country. This person, just say if you have a relative here who has a local bank, we can do the debit order of the local bank because we don't have a banking relationship with your bank in your country. So if you have a local person who wants to, that's probably what you call crossover. Who banks with FNB or Capital, we can sign that and then the debit order can come from the local account. That way you'll be the same like in South Africa. I didn't understand that the issue. It seemed to me the person was asking more, why are our fees higher as students? Because they are indeed higher.
No. So I think you were not in part of that presentation.
Okay.
We did address.
My apologies. Yeah. If it relates to you physically coming, once you come to South Africa, you are here. You will pay the same fees that people are here. South Africans as well as residents. Right?
No, the question is more.
Okay, e-campus. Yes, next one. Is that the end? Are we done? People are itching to go. Even me, I'm itching to go.
Can I get credits from? The next one is from Tandiwe. Can I get credits from some of the modules if I would like to apply for a degree in South Africa with my full ACCA qualification?
Can I get credits from some of the modules if I was to apply for a degree program in South Africa?
Go to UNISA, can I use ACCA for example?
Exemption, like for UNISA to say this is an honors, we can exempt you from this because you have ACCA.
That's what I understand.
Yeah. Okay, let me the answer is no. The answer is no. Let's be clear. Universities have not fully recognized in Europe their master's degree that you enter straight with ACC. They accept it as a first degree or whatever to go into master's because ACC itself is regarded as a master's level. South African universities have not fully operationalized their admission policy to accept they believe in a degree to enter into another degree. And this is not only ACCA. South African universities don't accept a professional qualification as a minimum requirement to access some of their degrees. They want metric to enter into university. They want the first degree to go to honors. They want an honors to go to master's degree. So ACCA would not let you, on the basis of your ACCA, be admitted into a university program. If it exists, it's something that is new the last 6 months. The last time I've been working on this thing, I know it doesn't exist. So you won't be able to get admission or exemptions on the basis of your ACCA. If the degree is very important to you, then you should look at doing international degree. Because a lot of British, European, they accept ACCA as continuation, but not locally. Okay, yes, next one.
Dumisani.
Yes, Dumisani.
BPP or Kaplan, which study material do you recommend?
Okay, we recommend Kaplan. Kaplan, we used to use BPP for 5 years, then we switched and used Kaplan. So we retail both on our bookstores, but what we recommend and which is what we use on our courses is Kaplan. So I hope that answers your question. I will give you my experience with both. When I studied with BPP. When I studied charter with BPP. But I started seeing a number of things that when I visited Kaplan, I started doing some comparison over time. I felt that, and again, it's like BMW and Mercedes. Okay? Some people say BMW is better than Mercedes. Some people say Mercedes. It comes down to preference. After I studied the two, compared them subject by subject, I just had this distinct feeling that Kaplan was slightly more exam focused than BPP. things that you teach and what students find in the exam, they were more similar to examples in Kaplan than they were in BP overall. And that caused us 6 years ago to switch to Kaplan. And we'll be using Kaplan since the last 6 years. But both of them are approved content providers recommended by ACCA. Okay, yes. Last one. Is it finished now online? We're done online, right?
Yes, that's the last one online.
Huh? That's
the last one online.
Thank you so much. So we're done. Face to face? Yes. I don't mean to rush you. You're going to ask, so if you have, I'm happy to answer. Yes.
I don't know if what's
Okay. The community online festival, I don't really have, but I know overall our pass rate is about 28% grouped together. Okay. I know that we will sometimes analyze face-to-face versus this. I don't have those immediate numbers right now, but I know overall you group it together. But I know I can tell you at any given point in time that face-to-face will always be 10 percentage points higher than online. So we can always pull that out, but face-to-face is always generally higher. I mean, take for instance, when I teach, a lot of teaching is also about psychology. I'm teaching, I'm looking at you. I can anticipate a question before you ask. If you're online, I can't see your face. Okay? I only wait until you ask. And sometimes if we have to teach for 1 hour, we go for break. Everybody goes on break. Online, you go take your tea, you leave classes, you come back, we don't even know whether you are studying. There's a lot of indiscipline going on there. Even your ability to discipline yourself is very, very limited. So all that militates against online. But in a world where people are worried about COVID or you are too far, that is the next best you can do if you couldn't do. But at any given point in time, face-to-face will do better than online, no question about
it. All right. Yes.
I patients.
Online again.
There's one last one online. Sianda just sent it now.
Yes.
Wits has PGDIP specializing in accountancy. So ACCA is recognized as a postgraduate qualification by Wits.
That's a question or is a statement? Read it again, Shazo, read it again. You're referring to the VET's postgraduate diploma in accounting. I know the qualification, but what is the question around that qualification?
So he just mentioned that VET is a PGDIP specializing in accountancy. So ACCA is recognized as a postgraduate qualification by VET.
Oh, I suspect. No, he's probably referring to my initial answer where I said no university would accept ACCA as entry to an advanced qualification. And he's probably trying to say not necessarily the case because VETS has a postgraduate diploma. That is true, but let's draw the difference. It is true that VETS has a postgraduate diploma in accountancy, which is a partnership between VETS and ACCA. That's a specific partnership. You don't enter into that program with ACCA. Let's get that very clear. Let's say you've done a first degree in accountancy and you are thinking about what route do I want to become CIMA, or do I want to become ACCA, or do I want to go the CASA route? So VETS has worked with ACCA to develop a specific, like a CTA for ACCA. Remember, at cycle rule, you have a CTA. Okay, it's like they call the postgraduate diploma in accountancy, which is structured around those professional level qualifications. So if you have a minimum degree, you wanted to go the ACCA route, you can enroll for that program, which is almost like a post-degree program. The syllabus is exactly the same like those 4 professional level subjects. But I always ask the question, what is the benefit? Because even if you enroll for that program and you have that postgraduate diploma, you come to ACCA, you still have to do those modules. I don't know if you follow. ACCA will not exempt you because you had that. ACCA does not exempt anybody from professional level upward. The advantage you have is by the time you come to ACCA, you have already gone through the course. You know the content. Now, which means you have an academic qualification from a university. Are you with me? Then the same content that you use to get the academic qualification is the same content that you now use to pass the same modules. So it gives you 2 qualifications, so to speak. But that is not VETS opening up a qualification for you to enter with ACCA. That's not the same. All right. Now, face to face, I think we finished now. Was your hand coming up? Yes. Yes, please.
Online during the weekday.
It depends on the modules. Yes, it depends on some of our modules. They run over the weekend. So let's say you chose module A and module B. You find that module A runs over the weekend, which you can come face. Module B runs in the evening. You can do online. So it depends on the module. If you told us which modules you want to do, we'll be able to tell you yes. This module runs over the weekend, and this one you can do it online. You have that flexibility.
So that we have 1 class per month. We don't have an option. By either evening.
But that option is resolved because we record it anyway. So because we record all the classes, if you couldn't do weekend, okay, you can then follow the recorded class in the evening. It's just that the opportunity of asking questions as if you're part of class is lost because you are following the lecture long after it was done. Okay, it looks like we come to the end now.
Yes, hopefully, Shadow, we assume you also don't
Are you opening this online?
Now that's the last one online.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. But I think if there are more questions, we've got our email addresses there. Some might actually not be coming through because you probably need to email us and maybe it's a little bit more. You want to take it outside this open day. Those are our contact details. You also have the WhatsApp number for you to contact us. So you can also and our general telephone number here for the Rivonia campus for any other support. We have taken you through, I think, all the processes, and at any point, please feel free to contact us. And we will share the recording of this open day, including the slides and everything that we have presented today. So you are able to go through afterwards if you need more support. Otherwise, besides that, I think you've got the details, and I'm sure everybody online, you can screen grab and capture. Besides that, I assume you, I think they have taken the details. All right. Thank you. Okay, sure.
Guys, my own direct email is this first one, Vinci. There are things that you really need. Some of the questions, they are not clear, so I want to get high level. But you can send this to me within 24 hours and give you more specific.
All right. But otherwise, thank you so much for making time. I know we went overboard, but I guess it was worth it, the questions and everything, and you're able now to enroll. If you want to enroll today, we've got booths, our campuses, speed point machines, EFTs, we do take books, you can still buy. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's fine, end of January, we'll still be here. All right, thank you so much. And for those online, thank you for engaging with us and your questions. Please feel free to contact us, and thank you again. We now close the session.
Thank you.